Okay, you know how the program is ran, so bear with me approximately a minute or so, and we should have the other streaming platforms up and running, and we can get the show on the road. So it's going to be a simple show tonight. Going to be a simple show tonight. Want to hear? I mean, there's a lot going on, but they always say keep it simple, stupid. Tonight's going to be one of those keep it simple, stupid shows. Whereas, as opposed to me giving you a pressing topic, you guys are going to get to control some of the narrative tonight. So tonight's show going to be a little bit different. So, if you will, give me a moment to get my devices in order, and we'll go ahead and start momentarily here. Talking about the actual state of the country. Now, very similar to when a president gives a State of the Union. It's going to be similar to that, but it's going to come from you folks. It's going to come from you folks. So give me a second to get this information in here, and we should be going momentarily. We're going to be on, for tonight's purpose, we're going to be on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So those are the platforms. If you want to call in, obviously YouTube you can't do that. I really wish YouTube would come to the point where they allow people to call in. But if you're watching and you do want to be part of the audio portion of the show, we'll be on Instagram and TikTok tonight. Instagram and TikTok. So that's where we'll be. One of these days, YouTube is going to let me take calls. I got a lot of lovely MAGA all over YouTube that I would like to talk to. So let me get this last piece here, and I think we're just about good to go. And I'll go ahead and cue that up. I think I hit the right thing there. So with that going, I'll go ahead and fire up Instagram and TikTok, and the show should be up and running momentarily in 3, 2, 1. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I just want to make sure I switch over to Wi-Fi. There we go. So tonight we are going to talk about the state of the nation. Very similar to what you hear given by the president, often referred to as the State of the Union, which is the same thing. State of the Union, State of the Nation. Union and nation are essentially synonyms in this case. So we're going to be talking about the state of the nation, and I want to hear this from a perspective of Trump detractors and Trump supporters. And I'm saying this because obviously Trump detractors are probably going to view the state of this country in a different light than Trump supporters will. But that doesn't mean either side is wrong. I mean, every candidate in existence has good sides, good pros and cons is what I'm looking for. Every candidate has pros and cons. So tonight I'm going to let you folks essentially run the show, so to speak. We're going to have you on. We're going to have folks on, and I want to hear the good points of President Trump, the bad points of President Trump. Now, obviously, there will always be pushback on a show like this. So if you give a good point of Trump, and it's something that most of America doesn't feel is a good point, I'm going to push back and have you elaborate a little bit more on it. I mean, like for instance, what's in the news right now? Epstein files. Is Trump withholding the Epstein files something that some folks might view as a good point? In other words, by him withholding the Epstein files, he's preventing the identities of innocent people from being released to the public and therefore harming the innocents. Some folks will spin it like that to suggest that not releasing the Epstein files is a good thing, a good point. I'm going to push back on it because obviously most America doesn't agree with that. So that's what we're talking about, good points and bad points of President Trump. We're going to be talking about the state of the nation. For instance, in the comments, Working Bum. I love the name. Well, actually not Working Bum, but I do love the name. Actually, it was Bobby Nestor in the comments is saying that we are in a better state now than this time last year. And that's a good point to be made, which can certainly be addressed. Which, for instance, I'll just simply ask you folks that are tuning in right now, by way of yes or no in the comments, how many of you folks believe that America is now in a better state in July 2025 than it would have been under Biden in July of 2024? How many of you folks believe that America is currently in a better state? See, this is what I'm talking about. We're going to get people on both sides. We're going to have folks come up and we're going to tackle this. Now, I'm going to be clear. There are plenty of good things and bad things. I could probably play devil's advocate on that one pretty easy. I could point to some improvements of President Trump, and I can certainly point to some issues that have arisen from electing President Trump. But this is where you're going to get the difference of opinion based on who you voted for. So we're going to be talking about the state of the nation. And what I also want is for you folks to we're gonna probably go with three, but at least two. I want to hear greatest hits, greatest failures. If you're voting for Trump and you come on the program, I'm going to be asking two to three of Trump's greatest hits. Like since he got elected, if you voted for me, three things he's done that you're really proud of. And of course, if I get Trump detractors on the program, I'm going to be asking two to three things that he's done that has really, really upset you, or you really disliked, or you believe are really harmful to the country. Now, keep in mind, yours truly, the one that doesn't censor, I can play devil's advocate. So if I hear you come up with some bullshit, whether you're criticizing Trump for something he does not deserve to be criticized for, or you're praising him for something he should not be praised for, we're going to have a conversation. That's how the program runs. We're going to have a conversation. And it should be an interesting show. Also, briefly, I just want to hear from you folks. And, some folks are always messaging me, telling me what I'm fucking up on, how I'm getting this show wrong. I would love to hear your complaints, comments, suggestions. And if there's a compliment or two, feel free to throw that in. So we're going to be opening up the show also to get your take on how it could be more of a not only entertaining program, but we don't want to throw things off. So education is important, getting the facts right, going down the right path, or just like I said, presenting a more entertaining program. So I want to hear your criticisms, comments, complaints, suggestions, and if there's a compliment or two in there, I'll take that too. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Nevertheless, somebody said, now I like that one. BC says, you do well. You need to get paid. I like that one. I'm not going to argue with that. Thank you, Bravo Charlie 2239. Thank you. And by the way, there is one way to make that happen for any of you folks that want to throw your boy a few roses or, galaxies or whatever the hell there may be. I do appreciate that. That does come in handy. So there you go. There you go. And not to mention, what is it? $sign Liberate Cash App. Hey, I'm not gonna turn anything down like that. Nobody uses a Cash App, but I'm not hating on it. Anyway, let me go to the comment section. Laughing my ass off. You must be getting paid from Trump. You really think Trump would pay my ass? If you must be new to the show to suggest that President Trump would pay me. You must have not heard any of the topics. Oh, there we go. Big Dog. Shout out to you, Big Dog. Wow, thank you. Big Dog, man, listen, I do appreciate the support, Big Dog. Absolutely, man, thank you very much for that. Beautiful. I will say this in regards to the idea that Trump would be paying me. Big Dog, appreciate the hat and mustache. Yeah! Yeah, you would not think if you watch this show with any frequency that Trump is paying me for the programming. But I appreciate the effort to even make that attempt. Big Dog, thank you. Yet Trump definitely looking out for the average American. I'm sure you'll see the dropping grocery prices and rising wages. Well, in defense of Trump, the price of fuel has not been that bad. And this is the time of year over the Memorial Day, July 4th, and what is it? What's the last one? Labor Day holiday. This is the time when the price of fuel normally goes up. The price of fuel is fairly reasonable right now. Now, we can argue if Trump did anything to bring down fuel prices, and some folks who believe the president doesn't control fuel prices. I'm going to simply say if the price of gas was $5 a gallon, the liberals would be blaming Trump. So if the price of fuel is dropped down to a reasonable amount, I personally believe he should get credit. I don't believe that the president should ever be in a situation or ever in a position where the only credit he gets is negative. If the price of fuel shoots up, they're going to blame it on him. Same thing I was saying this under the Biden administration. When the price of fuel was very high, and Trump and the people on the right were blaming Biden, and the liberals were saying, well, the president has nothing to do with gas prices. Then all of a sudden, when prices started coming down, guess who was on TV taking credit for it? Biden and Kamala Harris. But when the prices were high, they had nothing to do with it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're president, if the price of fuel is good, you get credit. If the price of fuel is bad, you get credit. And that's not just the Biden and Harris administration. Trump is known for doing that, taking credit for the good and passing off the bad to someone else. He doesn't take credit for anything bad either. So it is what it is. All right, looking in the comments real quick though. Beef just went up $10 a pound. Really? Damn. And I see followed by Plugged In TV Studio said, you must don't cook. No, I said the price of fuel. I didn't say the price of groceries. I'm not going to argue. And I don't cook a lot, but I just cooked pork chops for dinner tonight. And I can tell you, I do realize the price of meat is very expensive. In fact, I went out and had a steak dinner at Lone Star yesterday, and that shit's expensive. I do agree the price of groceries under Trump has not come down, plus or minus a few eggs, which was really attributed to the bird flu. But the price of groceries itself, your grocery bill, it hasn't come down under Trump. It certainly has not. So anyway, we've got our topic, simple topic tonight. I want to talk to you folks about the State of the Union, State of the Nation rather. Get your opinion on that. How happy you are, how distraught you are. What's your predictions on the future? Trump's only through 1/8. I repeat, 1/8 of his term. So he still has 7/8 of. This is your fractions. This is for all you folks who remember your fractions back in school. 7/8 of his term is still to go. He's only through 1/8 of it. So anyway, looking in the comments, I'll go straight to the box. Be nice to the guests. Sherbert, that is certainly the motto. We're going to start it out with Gangsta Grandma, State of the Nation.
What your fluffy looking ass? The gas is down. No, it's not. Who the fucking lied to your fucking fluffy ass?
You're telling me the price of fuel from July 2024 to now, you see no change at all?
No. My gas is over $3 still. What the fuck? And you know what? My fat ass went to the damn grocery store because I was gonna make some tacos tomorrow. And tell me why the motherfucking beef, the chuck roast, is $10 a pound.
Hold
what
up.
The fuck?
First of all, we don't say fat around here. We say thick. Okay. But
well, you fat. I'm fat. I'm PHAT.
Okay.
Shit.
All right. Pretty hot and tempting.
Too damn much. I tell you, got that much protein up in you. It made you fat.
The damn show just started. How the hell could I be fluffing this quick?
Just because the show just started, I still come after you because you have the maggots on after me, and you have them be all cupcaking like you gone some shit.
When you come on,
you want me to I'm complaining about what you're doing because you be fluffing too damn much. Let those white tea motherfuckers that is like cupcaking on your shit. You don't push back like that. If you had me up on it, I'd be pushing it right fucking back with the inbred looking ass.
Gangsta Grandma, have you ever been told you cannot be made happy? When I bring you on first, you're bitching. Hold on, hang on. When I bring you on first, you're bitching and accusing me of fluffing. When you get brought on further down in the show, you're bitching because it took me too long to bring you on. No matter what I do.
Yes, I do. Because you be fluffing. If you could have some balls like I can have balls, and I don't even have fucking balls, I have make-believe balls. If I could have them, you could have some big kahunas and go after the motherfuckers. How about that?
Well, I believe I push back on MAGA. You want me to disrespect MAGA? I don't do that.
Yes, disrespect their ass. What the fuck?
That's not how this show runs, gangster. We don't.
Because you do, okay, they disrespect us. Look what they did to us. Look what they're doing to us. Look what they voted for. They voted for the maggot that's a racist son of a B word and every damn thing else. And I hope to God that little maggot in the White House has congestive heart failure. You know why? Because he's going to go to the light very soon.
Wait.
And
Wait. Did I hear you suggest that you're hoping that Trump, the president, you want him to pass away? What you just said?
Hell yeah! Go to the light. Go to the light. Lord Jesus, take him to the light. Go to the pits of hell he belongs.
Why would now in the comments I got Andrew saying Granny is evil. How do you?
Yep.
Why would you?
Oh yes, honey. Oh, I'm very evil. When it comes to the white tea maggots that would wish us death, that don't want black and brown people here, you got me fucked up. Praise the Lord. Go take all your bitches to the pits of hell.
Okay, my question to you is: how is what you're doing right now not hate? How is that not
It's
hate?
not hate. It's facts. It's not hate. See, let me tell you something. If there was hate, like they do to us, okay, they are condoning what that damn little fucking orange Jesus in the office is doing to the undocumented. They praise that. Oh no, and then they over here having T-shirts and merch over the concentration camp. So what the fuck? So you want me to be nice to them? You got me fucked up.
We're not talking about being nice, Gangsta Grandma. You literally are suggesting you want the president to pass away.
Okay. He had swollen ankles and everything else. Hallelujah.
Why are you celebrating that? Why would you celebrate? What kind of human being, if you're going to suggest that Trump is inhumane, how does that make you look wishing for the death of another human being?
I get the same energy back. How about that? I give the same damn energy. I don't give a damn about the evil. Now, if he was good and he was a good, decent person, I wouldn't wish nothing. He's the first damn president I cannot stand. So I tell you, he needs to go to the pits of hell. I wish God would come down and say, hallelujah, at the pits of hell. Yep.
So you want this? I mean, and I see in the comments, Miss Choosy says, not one lie told, you go grandma. She's wishing for the death of a human being.
Okay, look what he's doing to us. Look what he's doing to the black and brown people. He don't give a fuck. He wants to be. Let me tell you something. History is repeating itself. And now it's not black babies, it's Hispanics. Okay?
Hold on. Let me interrupt you. Hold on. Let me interrupt you and address a couple comments in it real quick, and I will come back to you. In the comments, Vicky Clark says, I'm not going to listen to this person. I'm going to move on to somebody else's page, and somebody else, Peace of Love, says, stop bringing her up.
Okay.
Folks, hold on.
Bye.
Folks, understand. When I get MAGA on a page, they are just as critical from the right as she is from the left. If you don't hold on, hang on. Let me handle this. If you do not favor free speech from an uncensored standpoint, I get that. If you would prefer to be somewhere where people are being censored or they're only sounding like what you want to hear, then I totally understand scrolling on. But we have zero censorship here. I've said that 100 times on the show. Maybe you're new. Gangsta Grandma, though, wishing for the death. Do you understand why people would be upset about that?
I don't give a fuck. And I'm saying this shit that the people won't say out loud. Half this damn country don't want us out here. People are saying, you know what? I hope he does have the congestive heart failure. I do. God's going to say, you know what? Not much evilness you are. The triple K stuff. Go to pits of hell. And what? I don't have no sympathy for him. I don't have no sympathy for the maggots. What they did us and what they're doing to us now, fuck them. Fuck everything about them.
What exactly are they doing to us that is so bad that you're wishing for the man to die?
Look what they're doing. They're taking Medicaid, Medicare, and they're closing hospitals. They're taking babies' food away from them. They are taking food stamps away from people. They want them to work more than what they're already working. But if they work more, they won't get it. Don't you guys comprehend that?
Well,
but you can't work.
But based
you
on
can't work.
Yeah,
What?
but based on what you're saying, they're taking welfare, they're taking food stamps, they're taking Medicare and Medicaid. The Trump administration denies that. They're saying they're just cutting fraud and abuse, and they're
Yeah.
putting in work
Shut
requirements.
up with your fluffy fucking black ass. Shut up. Shut the hell up. If you did not read that fucking bill, it says it right there, black and white. It says it. They are cutting shit. Trillions of dollars out of Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps. They're taking, and you know what the fucked up part about the whole shit is? See, that's why you be fluffing. That's why you like that white tea man's protein. Like, I cannot take that. Ugh, God.
Okay. Here's, for the life of me, I don't understand it. You gotta explain this to me. Why the hell do you hate white people so much?
I didn't say they like white people. The normal white people is cool as hell. At least they know how to don't put raisins in that shit. The maggots, they're the ones that cannot cook. They're the ones that's uncooked. They're the ones that be sleeping with their mama, their daddy. Don't even know they don't even know if it's a cousin or the damn sister because they don't know who the fuck they be fucking. So don't get me going. I can't stand none of their asses. They might give us pills.
Is it possible? Is it possible to just be a hardworking, law-abiding, tax-paying person that supports Trump? Is that possible?
No, because they are racist pieces of shit. They are.
All of them.
Yes, all of their asses. If you walk like a fucking duck, you quack like a fucking duck, and you talk like a fucking duck, quack, quack, you are a fucking duck. And then they're following a little leader. Yes, master, all of their asses. And you know what's fucked up about the whole shit is? They voted against their own interests. They did. Okay? This is what they did. Oh, yes, they're going to give us all this tax on tips and all this bullshit. You know what he did? He only get $12,000 damn dollars. $12,000 damn dollars. Then, for 2 fucking years, you stupid rejects. That's why he likes the uneducated. But then he gave the billionaires that don't need the damn tax credit and the tax cuts, gave it to them and took from the fucking poor. Ain't that about a bitch? And then, they don't want your kids to be educated, you stupid fucks. They want you to be pregnant, barefoot, in the damn kitchen. They don't want that. You know what they did? My kids are going to Stanford. They took half of their fucking the loans and cut them in half.
Well, Trump.
Being doctors, they don't want you to become. They don't want black and brown kids to be doctors. Oh hell no!
But what are you basing it on? Trump has never said he didn't want a black or a brown person to be a doctor.
Why would you cut the damn loans then?
Over
250,000. Knowing a doctor knowing it takes over 300 grand to become a doctor.
Is it possible that they were cutting waste, fraud, and abuse and trying to bring down the deficit?
I gotta be your co-host because you know I gotta get a skillet with you and back you upside your fucking head.
Why are you being violent?
Okay, what's the waste at? Where's the waste at? Giving a billionaire's fucking tax credit? Is that a waste? Yes, that's a waste. Why are they giving that to them? But taking it from the poor, taking it from the students, okay? Taking it from free lunch programs. $1 billion away from free lunch programs. That's what they did. They're taking $1 billion from the food pantries.
Trump promised to bring down the deficit. You do realize some cuts are going to have to be made, right?
Deficit.
What?
He's adding trillions, like $4 trillion. What the fuck? Oh yeah, give the billionaires the more yachts and stuff, but defunding the education system. We do not need that, because look out, half the fucking United States is dipshits anyway.
But do you realize how many people go to school, take out these huge loans, and they don't even get a job in the field that they went to school for, and they'll never pay the loans back? Trump is trying to get rid of that. He's trying to get, that is waste. He's trying to get rid of that.
I know it's not waste, because they pay it back. The doctors, they go to school, they have to do a fellowship, they have to do a residency, and they start paying it back. What the fuck are you doing?
You don't see all these people that are suggesting.
No, they don't want black and brown kids to succeed. They do not want black and brown doctors. They do not want black and brown lawyers. They don't want none of that. You know what they want is back on the damn fucking plantation. They want us to where the Mexicans go. Well, those jobs, those are the so-called black jobs. How about that? Let's open up the can worms, huh? That's the real shit.
But what are you? Other than this is where the Trump side might suggest you're in your feelings. What are you basing that on?
No, see, I'm not in my fucking feelings. I'm telling the fucking truth. And if you don't fucking like it, oh fucking well.
What is making you say that Trump wants black and brown people in a field?
What? What is he doing now? He's putting them in concentration camps. They're still doing it. They're gonna build more. What the fuck is wrong with you, Tim? And you don't think your ass ain't gonna be next? Your fat ass, you might lose a couple of pounds.
You realize I'm in my mid-50s. They're not gonna put me in the field.
I'm not my 50s yet, but hell.
I'm just simply.
But you got Jeremy that's a fucking triple K that only makes $15 fucking an hour. You know what I mean? You let him up and he's flipping on that.
I strongly believe.
What's his name? Mega, whatever that shit is. You get him and you be cupcaking with his ass, and you really don't tell them the truth. But what the fuck are doing? They are taking the kids' loans and they're taking them away. They're taking the Pell Grants and they're shoving it. They're taking that away. You know what? They're doing everything against black and brown kids.
I think listen.
They are.
Listen, I'm not trying to suggest Trump is some superstar, but I think you have blind hatred for the guy. You cannot.
No, oh my God, Tim! Would you shut the fuck up? Quit sucking on his damn dick.
No, there's no copulate.
He does not like us. Comprehend, Pookie? He does not like us. He don't like your kids. He don't like none of us. He don't like the Mexicans. He don't like the Cubans. He probably don't even like the poor fucking white people. But you know what? They're stupid enough to fucking vote for his ass.
Yeah, and all of the folks that have suggested that Trump, even African Americans that have voted for Trump, they believe that Trump is doing great for African Americans.
Really? For one, they're not fucking black. They're white. They don't even know the definition of being black. What the fuck is wrong with their asses? They have not set one foot in our black man's shoes to say anything. All they got is white tea privilege, and all they can do is walk down the fucking damn street, and they don't get pew-pewed at by the popos. Shut the fuck up.
All right, Gates.
No. No. See, this is not going to happen. Not today. Because I am so tired of your ass. You're going to get your ass up, and you're going to fight and tell these little maggots what they're fucking doing to us. That's what the fuck you're going to do. Because you know why? That's why they come on this show, and that's why they show on your little platform. That's why they take you your cupcake. Because you don't tell them the damn fucking facts what they're doing to us. You don't tell them that they're taking Pell Grants away from people. You don't tell them that when they don't want us to be doctors or lawyers or nothing, they cut the damn.
What the hell? Wait a minute. What the hell has Trump ever did to make you say he doesn't want black people to be doctors and lawyers? That's misinformation.
We had almost close to $300,000 that you could go loan through the federal government. Okay. He cut it down to 100.
But that affects everyone. Why do you keep suggesting it's only black and brown people?
Because he's aiming. Because it was DEI. It was DEI. All of it was DEI. He's doing it because of DEI. He's breaking down the education system. DEI. Everything he thinks is DEI, and it's coming back to get us. If you don't want your kid to go to medical school, that's on you. But mine are. They're going to Stanford. And now they have to stress out about doing it. What the fuck is wrong with you? And they could have had it. But no, you have
I haven't.
In there. You have Orange Jesus in there and saying it's DEI, it's DEI, it's DEI. And you know what the motherfuckers was? DEI was for the white tea man. You dipshits.
All right, gangster.
But you're taking it.
I got to move it on. I gotta move it on. Strong words.
Push back, Tim.
We'll see what happens. Thank you, Gangster Grandma. Real quick in the comments. Now, there's plenty of folks who agree with her. I see a hell of a lot of my beloved MAGA that disagree with her. But we're gonna go to the other side of this because I'm curious to hear what the other side has to say on this. Now, I lean center left, no doubt. But she's obviously much further to the left of me, which is why she often refers to me as fluffing or or bending over for MAGA, or whatever term you want to throw in there. But I see in the comments, Andrew says she is a live one. Meanwhile, Chucky Brown in the comments says, dude, you are MAGA. Just admit it. Do I have any viewers? I'm curious. You know, you guys, some of you folks hear me night after night when I'm on here. Do I have viewers that have interpreted that I am MAGA? I'm curious. Do I have viewers that have interpreted me that way? I do push back on the left and the right, but interpreting me as MAGA. Anyway, looking in the comments, everyone becomes dumber when you bring this woman on, says Jeremiah Brown. Wow. Listen, I'm going to bring on folks on the other side that people will say the same thing for. At the end of the day, a lot of folks do not like free speech, an uncensored program. Now, when she was speaking, and I'll go to the caller next, but I do want to elaborate this point. And by the way, tap the damn screen, get the likes on up to about 15,000. We'll try to make that happen. It helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. The program is, always will remain MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Wrong hat. Liberals are welcome as well. So tap the screen, get the likes on up. Here's what I want to bring up. Okay, she's criticizing President Trump, suggesting he doesn't like black and brown people and things like that. People in the audience, misinformation, report. Obviously, all MAGA, obviously, cancel culture exists on the right as well. However, keep in mind, when we have MAGA on the program and they're claiming that, you know, Obama was born in Kenya or the election was stolen by Biden, we allow them to speak as well. There's a hell of a lot of people that believe that's misinformation too. So I do want you guys to understand that you're going to hear opinions from the left and the right. You're not going to agree with all the damn opinions. This is not an echo chamber. If you lean right, you're not going to agree with the people on the left. If you lean left, you're not going to agree with the people on the right. I think some folks have forgotten how uncensored speech works because everybody's in their own damn echo chamber. The left listens to the left-wing media, the right listens to right-wing media. So you put them all together, they're out of their element, and everybody wants to shut up the other side. That's not what we do here. That is simply put not what we do here. But I've seen a hell of a lot of MAGA that did not like my last caller, or reporters, misinformation and shit like that, knowing damn well that if Trump was on here telling you he was a healthy and fit 225 pounds, you wouldn't have any problem letting that be said, even though that's just as clear of misinformation as anything in existence. That's what I'm telling. Try not to be biased on the program when you hear opinions or points you don't agree with. Just see it from both sides. That's all I'm asking. Anyway, continuing on with the program. I mean, it's just crazy how people misinformation. Okay, you're hearing misinformation from a liberal, but you voted for Trump. You ain't never heard him say anything at all that qualifies as misinformation on. Okay, as in, such as the Epstein list doesn't exist or it's a Democratic hoax. We've talked about that on the program, and not one person representing MAGA said that was misinformation. Must report. God damn, let me go back to the box. You guys are ridiculous with that. She was funny, but she was really disrespectful towards you. She's, you know, oddly enough, she probably is the most, she probably does that more than anybody else in the program. When I bring up even MAGA, where they may think I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, they don't go to that level. Let me go back to the box and continue on with the program. Let's talk dialysis. Is that what I'm looking at? We're on Instagram. I want to bring in one of my Instagram viewers, if it brings them up. Real quick in the comments, listen to her, Tim. She's right, says Diamond Jimmy. Like I said, it depends on who you're talking to. Some people think she's right. Some people think she is wrong. From MAGA, we appreciate the free speech program. You are helping to show the world what the left truly is. Thank you, Will. I don't think that was meant as a compliment, but I'll take it as one. Nevertheless, I guess the Instagram viewer did not come up. We'll continue on to the other side. Jeremy, good evening, Jeremy. Still not tired of winning. Well, optimism, Trump is winning. There's no denying. The guy said, if you vote for me, you're going to get tired of winning. Trump is winning. The voters are not. I don't believe MAGA is winning like that. I believe Trump is. Jeremy, good evening.
Hello, Tim. How have you been?
I'm doing good as always. You know, I got what do I say? Hanging out like Al Sharpton at a clan meeting. Let me ask you this. You obviously in the comments had a disagreement with some of the statements made by my last caller.
Yeah,
What what did you disagree with most?
that DEI is a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you need DEI, you're weak and you deserve to lose your job.
You know, now I will push back on that obviously and say I don't think that DEI is a good thing. What I think the problem is they're labeling people DEI that are not. They're just picking random minorities and claiming they're DEI. I mean, the guy that they replaced to put Pete Hegseth in there, they called that guy DEI. That guy had a hell of a resume that was substantially stronger than Pete Hegseth, and they called the dude DEI.
Which one?
He was an African American man. I think he was like a 4-star general or something like that. I mean, they're getting rid of people though. That's the point I'm making. And that's not the only case. They're getting rid
That's
of
fine.
yeah, getting rid of
See,
admirals and shit, calling them
I don't know
DEI.
the individual's credentials. I don't know the individual's credentials, but I do know Pete. See, the thing is, you got to know something about the military. A lot of people respect officers that are NCOs a lot more than they do regular officers, because regular officers don't have to be grunts before they can become NCOs. Sorry, before they become officers. A lot of them, like if you get like an E7 or an E9 or something like that, they're oftentimes given a lot more respect than like anything. Means officer, because they don't have to like.
Okay,
they
I'm not
without having
okay.
experience.
In being candid, I have never served in the military. Have you served in the military?
No, but I have family that do.
Okay. Well, I had family that do, but I've never served in the military. However, I will say this: just because you haven't served on the field, and maybe you came in with a college education, you came in at the officer level. That don't mean people are automatically going to not respect you, and it certainly don't mean you should just be labeled as DEI. I think that Trump is labeling people. Trump and MAGA in general are labeling people DEI that are not DEI.
That, while I won't say that that's impossible, it's very unlikely. Like, I'd have to see the individual case, but usually it seems to be pretty consistent that the people who are labeled DEI are DEI.
Who have you seen? Obviously, they're going to be either black, brown, a woman, or gay. It's never a white man as DEI. I don't know why, but if you're a white guy and you have no business in the position you got, nobody seems to have a problem with that. But if you're in these other categories, have you seen anybody that they labeled as DEI and you knew they didn't have the merit, they didn't have the resume? Do you have the name of anybody that fits that description?
Oh, absolutely, AOC.
Hell, she was voted in. She was voted in.
I know, but she really shouldn't have won over any of the other people like running, like including like the person she replaced, who was much more intelligent than she was. She was fielded by the Justice Democrats, and off of an audition, and she lied about where she came from. She's from Yorktown.
Well, in regards to saying she lied about where she came from and things like that, my guess is
she's from the suburbs.
Yeah, but that's it. Is because you want to get rid of her because she told you she was from one place and she happened to be from somewhere else. That's enough for you to get rid of her.
That's not the only reason. It's not the only reason. It's also because she's economically illiterate. Like, I swear, that idiot couldn't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time.
Look, I can't speak on your opinion of AOC, but she did the legwork. She went out there, she knocked on doors, she shook hands and kissed baby. She did what is required of a politician to be successful. And by the way, they keep voting her in. So in fact, she's being possibly considered for an upgrade to Senate. So I don't think she's doing as bad as you think. I think her politics fits her area. You're not in her area. You don't lean left. So you don't like her, but her politics fits her area.
Well, fair enough. I'll give her that she was correct. That she was correctly elected. Well, correctly isn't the right way of saying it. That she was duly elected, but I don't think that. But it shows you the IQ of people living in New York.
I don't know if you got a. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Well, when you talk about the IQ of those people, it's not the IQ, Jeremy. It's what they stand on, their principles. I mean, maybe they support stuff like common sense gun laws or tuition forgiveness. People on the right don't support that. It's not
Common
that they
sense
got
is such a loaded term.
what's common sense gun laws.
Yeah.
Do you believe that a person that is blind with no arms and legs should be able to get a gun?
Why not? They're not going to be able to use it.
Then why should they get it then?
Why not? It's their right.
And you don't see no lack of common sense in that. What's next? You gonna give them a car too?
A car isn't a gun.
I don't. This is what I'm talking about when we talk about lack of common sense. You're saying that the Democrats lack common sense, but when asked with the question, should you give a gun to a person who's blind with no limbs? Why not? You're talking about the Democrats don't have common sense. I don't get that.
Okay, let's think about this logically. How many people who are blind with no arms are actually buying guns? Let's be realistic.
I don't know, but the fact is, you making it clear that if they wanted one, you'd be okay with giving it to them.
Yeah, they can't do anything, but they're not a harm to anybody.
How about the fact that they can't even keep it secure or make much better targets to steal a weapon from?
Well, how about the fact that they can't really do much? Like, and you know what? I could see one scenario where they could do it. Where they could, what if they knew that they were like in danger for somebody trying to hunt them down because they testified, and all of a sudden like they find a way to get someone to hook it up to like a system of pulleys, and then they use their teeth to pull the trigger on the pulley system.
And you're telling me the Democrats lack common sense when you said something like that?
I'm just saying, yeah, but your scenario is absolutely absurd. That's the thing. If we're going to use an absurd scenario, we can have absurd reasons.
You took what you referred to as my absurd statement and you added an exponent to it.
Yeah, but we need to go into an absurd scenario. Let's look at 90%. Let's look at 90% of what people will buy a firearm for. 90% of the time, people are going to buy a gun because they have all their arms and legs and they're all working just fine. And maybe they're a woman who just got the shit beaten out of her by her boyfriend, and she testified in courts. And because it was hard to prove a whole lot, the guy goes free, and now he wants to kill her.
No, I don't mind purchasing a weapon for self-defense, but the idea that there's no such thing as common sense gun laws or regulations is crazy. I mean, like for instance, I believe that if you own a firearm, you should at least be able to demonstrate you know how to use it. I don't think that it's crazy to suggest we need to make sure you know how to use this before we give it to you. I don't think that's crazy to do that.
And then, okay, well, let's look at this logically. If you have to demonstrate it, who's the one? What about the person administering the test? What if they just don't like you?
So because the person administrating the test might not like you, we'll just give you the gun with no test at all.
Well, you know, it's not very...
Why not? Based on that notion, why not get rid of the DMV while you're at it? I mean, the guy giving you your driver's ed test might not like you. So we'll just put you in the car and send you on your merry way.
Because there isn't nearly as much of a motivation that way. It's not nearly as contentious of an issue.
You could, if that's that much of a concern to you, you could have a panel. You could have 2 or 3 people to decrease the likelihood of what you're talking about. There's a bunch of things you can do. I mean, but when it comes to demonstrating proficiency with a firearm, it's simply put: show me you know how to load it. Show me you know how to unload it. Show me you know how to take it apart and clean it. Show me you know how to put the safety on. I mean, it doesn't matter. Hold on. It doesn't matter if they hate you or not. Demonstrating you know how to operate a weapon proficiently, and you can videotape it so that if the person did hate you, you could send it and fill an appeal or something like that. That's pretty easy to do.
Okay, see. Okay, so then would you be in favor of offering free classes as a requirement? That it be required that you get that classes be free? Yeah. That's better, but here's the thing. What if you don't have time? What if you don't have time to take the classes? You're in imminent danger. You need to have the firearm today.
By putting the time limit on it, by this period of time, you should have taken this test. I mean, period. Also, too, there's certain. Okay, let's be clear. Okay, you're running from your husband or whatever. Do you need a 100-round drum to protect yourself from him?
How many shots do you think it need? How many shots do you think it actually takes to actually hit something accurately?
If you need 100 shots, you don't. This is why I'm saying you need to train. If you're going through a drum missing people, you don't need to have that weapon. I mean,
Listen. I'm not saying that you necessarily need 100 rounds, but but there's all sorts of different scenarios where you would want multiple rounds, where you would want a high capacity magazine.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Like, for instance, look at Kyle Rittenhouse. He was attacked by multiple people. And on average, it takes, for some reason, the kid was a really good shot. But on average, you could fire 6 or 7 bullets before you hit anything. Now,
let me just say,
four different people.
What you're saying is a common argument in favor of high capacity weapons and things like that. I would just say this: the internet is literally loaded with videos of self defense uses of firearms. If you notice, very few videos feature somebody popping off all of it. Usually what happens is you either strike the target or the target takes off and disengages. You don't normally see
the weapon, right? The brandishing of the weapon.
It doesn't matter. The minute people start hearing pops, they're either going to get hit by one and they're going to take off running. You don't see a whole lot of defensive uses of firearms where people are going through magazine after magazine or emptying drums. The only people who do that are the cops, because they're not held accountable for every round they fire like the average citizen is.
What about?
Go ahead.
So what about animals? So what about if you live in the boonies and you've got animals on you that are coming after you or something like that, and they don't care about that stuff? What about bears?
What the fuck, man? Where are you going with this? Now you live in the boonies.
Hold on a minute. A huge percentage. No. Well, don't run away from this. Don't run away. Okay, don't fluff.
I'm sorry I ran to it. What the fuck? You're in the boonies.
How many people do you think actually live in the cities compared to the rural areas? Because I can tell you, a lot more people live in the rural areas than the cities.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
I can't listen.
It's just that cities are more compact.
No, I mean, when you take a city like Chicago that has, or the metropolitan area of Chicago has like 8 million people. I don't know what the rest of Illinois has, but that's a large portion of the state's population. I don't know if the rural, and by the way, there are other major cities throughout Illinois as well, but I don't think the rural areas have more people. I think it's less.
Yeah, no, it's actually true. There are more people in the rural areas total than there are in the cities. Now, imagine this: you're in a rural area and you come up against a bear. Bears don't run away that much. They're not afraid of humans, especially when they start eating. No. You laugh, but this is a real thing that people have to worry about. Bears are a real threat. What about wolves? What about other predatory animals that don't care about weapons? They see
I don't even think that's true. Predatory animals. There was a guy that was being stalked by a bobcat or something that got caught on video. He fired a shot at the bobcat and missed, and that bobcat took off running. That loud bang, even predatory animals sometimes turn around. I don't agree with you that they don't care about getting shot at. Predatory animals can sense danger as well. When the dirt starts popping up and concussion sounds hit near them, predatory animals run sometimes too. So that ain't always true.
Yeah, well, it depends. But for the most part, a lot of predatory animals will just attack you if they
So what are you suggesting? You need to have a 100-round drum because you might get attacked by a bear in the middle of the woods,
or on your property. What your property is where the food is. That's where a lot of the animals go. They dig in your trash. They start eating things that you've left outside.
Have you ever seen any video footage at all? Any video footage at all where somebody in self-defense had to pop a bear 10, 20 times to trap it? Have you ever seen a single video featuring that?
No, I haven't seen a video, but trust me, it's not like if you're putting 223 or 556 in that animal and you only pop off 3 shots, even if it's in an abdomen, it's going to come after you. It's going to keep coming at you.
If you believe that you're at risk of being attacked by a large wild animal, you just increase the caliber of what you're shooting at them. You don't need to hit them 100 damn times. That ain't necessary. I mean, you just increase the caliber of what you're firing at them. You don't need to shoot. I mean, you don't go out there with a
I mean,
22 special
you
and keep
definitely
putting
need
magazines
buckshot.
in there. What?
I mean, you definitely need. I mean, you definitely need buckshot over birdshot, but still, it's the point. The point I'm trying to make here, the point I'm trying to make here, Tim, is that there are all sorts of scenarios where you would want higher capacity magazines. There are all sorts of different scenarios, and it only takes.
I
one
don't
of them
know
to
of
happen
any
once.
scenario. I don't know of any scenario where an actual citizen would need more than 40, 50 rounds for a self-defense encounter. Like I said, there's plenty
Also,
of.
what's your big concern about them having high capacity magazines?
I don't know, other stuff in the backdrop getting hit.
That's possible with low capacity magazines.
And it
It's all about shock placements.
increases the more rounds you're firing.
I mean, it increases total probability.
Let me just say that. Let me just say at this point, to some degree, you can only have so much defense before it starts to appear as if you're preparing for offense. I mean, there's only so much you can have and reasonably refer to it as self-defense. At some point, it's no longer. I mean, like America, we have like 5,000 nuclear weapons. That's not in self-defense. You're not going to ever need to use all that. That's at some point it becomes offense. You have enough stuff now.
Wait a minute. That's mad. That's mutually assured destruction. That's what that is.
You're not going to ever get to that range. By the time you go through a few hundred of them, the shit's over with. Just like I'm talking about with a 100-round drum. You don't see anybody firing 80 rounds during a gunfight. It just doesn't ever get to that level. Usually somebody.
Wait a minute, how many rounds do you think are fired like in a shootout between gangbangers?
Even in the overwhelming majority of gang shootouts like that, either somebody's getting hit or somebody is like, hold on. Let me answer your question. Even in regards to gang shootouts, you're going to have one or two things generally happen. Either somebody's going to get hit and you stop the threat, or that person's going to take off and run. I remember Biggie Smalls made a song that said shootouts for 20 minutes until we finish. That ain't real life though. What you're seeing with Robert De Niro in the movie Heat, that don't normally happen. That's not how it. Usually somebody is deceased or on the ground or they're taking off running. You don't see those type of defensive use of firearms where people are loading magazine after magazine firing all these rounds. Only the cops do that because they don't have the same accountability for every round. So you will see a cop in
Wait a minute.
Hold on. Hear me out. You'll see a cop in a defensive gunfight where they're putting, a whole mag in somebody, popping out the other mag and putting it. If you do that shit as a citizen, your ass going to jail. You don't get the same leeway with firing rounds like they do. You never see defensive gun use where somebody hits a target 8, 9, 10 times, pop in another round. You don't see that. You only see the cops doing that.
Two things. Number one, and when people shoot, they miss a lot. Okay, so 8 or 9 rounds can go off, and maybe 1 round actually hits. Okay, number two. Okay, you've never heard of the North Hollywood shootout?
Yeah, it's just like
that was during the time.
That's very similar to what the movie Heat was about. There's a reason you're bringing up the North Hollywood shootout from the early 1990s because there hasn't been another one. That doesn't happen very often. That's over a generation ago.
What about that dude? What about the shooting in Vegas? Remember that?
The guy was upstairs in the fucking hotel room.
Yeah. What you think the cops didn't need rounds then? Put that guy down?
The only way you're going to put that guy down is to do exactly what they did. You're going to have to go in the hotel, kick his door in, and then you're not going to need 100 rounds anymore at that point. But if the guy is 17 stories up, popping rounds down at you, he pretty much has the advantage. They were never going to take him out from that point. They had to go to his hotel room, which is exactly what they did, and they took him out. And they didn't fire 100 rounds at the guy.
Actually, I do want to go after what Michael Alford said. Yeah, also Waco, Texas. Another perfect example.
Waco, Texas involved like 80 suspects. There were 80 people in the Branch Davidian all armed. That's a whole different. You're not, as a defensive citizen, purchasing a firearm to take on 80 people at once. There's nothing you can buy that's going to prepare you for that other than a Gatling gun.
Again, we can just go through scenario after scenario after scenario.
But notice the scenario. But notice the scenario. But notice how rare the scenarios you're presenting are. That you got to go back 30, 40 years to even find one. All of that stuff happened in the 90s. You're talking about.
Okay, school shootouts. What about school shooters? Huh? Remember Dylan Klebold and what was the other dude's? What was the other piece of shit's name?
You're talking about Columbine, yeah, Klebold and Harris or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, what about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many rounds do you think it would take to take those guys down? Probably quite a few.
Yeah,
because they were heavily armed too.
Yeah, but
shootouts in schools are not uncommon now.
But
they are, but they're not. But they are happening.
Even in most of those, when you got an active shooter, even in most of those cases, they're not firing hundreds of rounds at the person. Unless it's multiple armed officers doing it. One officer is not going to say, during this encounter, I emptied 3 or 4 magazines at the guy. Either you hit the dude and it's over, or he's running off, or somebody else hit him. It's usually over with that.
Okay, well, look, I'm just saying. Okay, you should be able to do that. Plus, the average person is not asking for 100 rounds in a magazine. They're saying, the average person is buying a 30-round magazine.
And that's why I'm talking about common sense. That's why you said common sense gun laws make no sense. If you said 30 rounds, I'm fine with that. When you start going up in the hundreds, I agree with you. They're only buying 30. So why is it okay to give somebody something like that?
Why is it okay to give someone something like that? Well, first off, what if they're just plinking? Why do you care then?
What is it? What?
Just plinking.
What does that mean?
Plinking, shooting at a metal target. And they just like it, and they just like doing it out of a full drum.
I look at it as a risk versus reward. Okay, I'm gonna you can have something that can cause all this mayhem because you might want to shoot at a metal target. I just look. You can pop in your 17-round magazine as much as you want and reload it. You don't need 100 rounds to shoot at this target. Just keep popping in 17 over and over again. I don't think that's a legitimate excuse to give somebody something like that.
Yeah, we can go back and forth. All I'm just trying to say is that there's always a chance that you could need something and that you don't think you need right away.
Yeah.
And for different scenarios. And I'm saying there's no points in limiting it. It doesn't really help or hurt anything.
I hear what you're saying. That's the common argument, and there's no sense in limiting stuff. People keep dying, and we're doing nothing but saying, "Well, we don't need to." I mean, we're literally doing nothing while people keep dying.
Because you keep blaming the means and not the reason.
I don't see anybody all I hear people saying is what won't work. I don't see the right saying, "Well, this would work. Let's try this."
I'll tell you what work. I'll tell you what would work. Okay, you look at the background of almost all of these shooters. They almost all of them have one thing in common. They had horrible lives that weren't worth living anymore, and they wanted to take everyone out with them.
That ain't true. You just mentioned that's not true. That is absolutely not true. You just mentioned the guy at Mandalay Bay. That guy had plenty of money.
I said most. Look at the 2 people who did Columbine. They were absolute losers.
I think David Koresh was living like a king. He didn't have a horrible life.
He's an outlier.
I could give you outliers until tomorrow. A lot of these people were not living bad lives, as you say. I mean, I don't think that even what is his name, Luigi Maggione was living a bad life. I could give you outliers on it. They're not outliers.
He wasn't a mass shooter. He was an assassin.
You get what I'm saying. Most of these folks they don't have horrible lives, as you're saying. A lot of times you hear he was a nice kid and all of that. We didn't have any trouble out of him until he started popping people. They don't have horrible lives. They don't.
What about Dylan Roof? What about Nicholas Cruz? What about the 2 people who? What about the guy who did Christchurch? What about?
I can give you 3 examples. Dylan Roof, the guy who went in the church and took out like 9 African Americans. He just had hate. He wasn't having a horrible life. The guy who went to the Walmart in El Paso and took out 20 Hispanics, it was just about hate. He drove 600 miles to do that. He didn't have a horrible life. The guy who went into the supermarket in Buffalo, he didn't have a horrible life. The guy who took out the 20 kids at Sandy Hook, his life wasn't horrible. What are you talking about?
He was the Sandy was also an outlier. He just had a lot of mental issues that needed to be solved. But look at the guy who shot up in Aurora.
A lot of mental issues. God damn it, I got mental issues. Everybody got mental issues. That ain't nothing new.
I'm not saying that's an excuse. I'm saying like you look at like background after background of these people, like and most of them come up as like needing like serious intervention in their lives.
Right.
I mean, look at the Uvalde guy. Look at the Uvalde guy. The guy was a failure in life in every aspect. He didn't even graduate, from what I remember.
You know, look, I'm from the hood. You know how many motherfuckers don't graduate and they don't go in schools and light them up? I mean, I got high school dropouts in my own damn family. Yeah,
they just join gangs and light up people's houses in the form of shootouts and drive-bys. Yeah, that's so much better.
I think, listen, you're talking about people having mental illnesses and things like that during the time when Trump is cutting benefits to people who might have mental illness. I don't see where the right is getting this right at all.
Wait a minute. People with disabilities were exempt from like.
That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a disability, Jeremy. I'm talking about if you or I whacked out right now. Trump does not want you to have free health care, which was what you may need to talk to a specialist. I'm not talking about a disability.
There's no such thing as free health care. It's not free. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. It's not free. Even government health care is not free.
But he doesn't want you to even have government health care.
Just government isn't a good mechanism to distribute.
Okay, so if somebody has a mental illness and they're thinking about taking out some of these places, he's removing the assistance they might be needing to get to. He's removing that.
He doesn't. You can get that through private insurance.
So in other words, he ain't gonna do shit for him. They better know to go through private insurance. That goes back to my statement, Jeremy.
Why do you want Tim? Why do you want the government to be in charge of everything? They're barely good at what they do as it is. Look at the postal service; they suck.
Okay. I don't look. You and I disagree on this argument, but the point I'm making is you can clearly see that you don't believe the left wing policies to end this stuff are a good idea. But when I ask you what is the right doing to end this stuff, your answer is nothing. Go seek private insurance.
No,
that means hold on. When you say use private insurance, that means the right ain't doing shit for these people. What is the right doing to end this stuff?
I think there's stuff we can do. I definitely think there's.
Give me an example of something. Give me an example of something the right is even trying.
So, well, here's something that I would do that I don't.
That ain't what I'm asking you for. I'm not asking you about you. You're saying the left wing idea of common sense gun laws and all that shit is irrelevant and it won't work. Give me something the right is even trying to do.
Okay, well, there are a lot of people on the right who are trying to reopen asylums. I know that asylums were used wrong in the past, but they're not inherently evil. No. Hold on a minute, okay? People like Gangster Grandma could be there. That would be a good thing.
I gotta go. I gotta move it up. Asylums. We'll see how that works. Jeremy, always a pleasure, man. Thanks for coming through. All right, moving on with the program. He said asylums. Wow. Looking in the comments. And listen, we're not here to really we weren't really here to have a gun debate, but sometimes the conversation spur off, and it did this time. But that I do stand by that point. Is that anytime you have a mass casualty event, the first thing the liberals start talking about is some type of gun laws or gun regulations. And the right often says that what the left is talking about is wrong. Guns don't take lives, people take lives. So the liberal recommendation is wrong. I get that. Even though I disagree, I understand that they don't agree with the liberals. But then when you ask, okay, then what are you gonna do? The answer is nothing. We don't think the liberals have the right idea. But we're not going to provide any. So when you look at, for instance, you look at mental health, which is what the right often says is the problem, which is what my last caller said. They often say mental health is what leads to this stuff. But go to right-wing areas, it's not any easier to get your hands on some good mental health care than it is in liberal areas. They're saying we believe the problem is mental health, but when you go to their areas, it's pretty clear they're doing nothing to make it easier to get treated for mental health. You can get access to mental health treatment in liberal areas probably easier than you can in right-wing areas. So we don't agree with the liberals, but we're not going to provide any solution at all. We're just going to continue making sure that people can get more guns if they need to. Good luck with that. Looking in the comments, the last guy is definitely on a couple's list. Is that right? Wow. Question: how often do mass casualty events happen in the USA versus first world countries? And they have regulations while you don't. The answer is simple. Mass casualty events in America involving firearms, it's going to be multiples. I mean, it's going to be multiples. When you compare us to Australia, the UK, New Zealand, or virtually any country throughout the free world in Western Europe, I mean, the United States is probably per capita, because we got more people than those countries, but even percentage wise or whatever method you want to use, United States is going to be way higher than any of these countries because of what me and my last caller was talking about. Even a blind person can get their hands on a firearm. If you're mentally ill, all you got to do is just don't tell the doctor. And I don't even think the doctors have a duty to report. So even if you do go to a mental facility, and okay, let's say for instance you go, you're saying I'm having problems, and the doctor puts you on depressants or anxiety meds or any of that shit, you can still get a firearm, even though you were officially receiving prescriptions for a mental illness. You could actually be prescribed treatment for mental illness, and in America still get a firearm. So even for folks who say the answer is mental illness, well, you're handing out firearms to people who are officially being treated for it. So clearly, we don't care from that standpoint. We do not care from that standpoint. Will G says, says therefore MAGA ain't shit. Sir, do you remember Jim Crow laws? Absolutely, I do. I wasn't around, but I'm totally aware. Let me go back to the box. What did that come up for, by the way? We're talking about the state of the nation, by the way. We weren't meant to have a gun debate, but some of the conversations go in that direction, and we're fine with that. But we're talking about the state of the nation right now. How you feel 6 months in? Trump has completed 1/8, not much, only 1/8 of his term. So he still has 7/8 to go. There's a lot more of that. Appreciate the hat and mustache there, Debo. Shout out to you. Thank you, sir. Going back to the box, talking about the state of the nation. How you feeling about that? Everything's bigger in Texas. Good evening, Texas. Welcome to the program. Talking about the state of our nation. Are you feeling confident? We got 3.5 more years to go. How you feeling, Texas?
I think everything's working out just fine right now. Had a pretty good week in Congress last week. So got the Genius Act signed into law. Clarity passed in the House, and anti-CBDC passed.
Well, you say got the Genius Act passed?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like, so I see a lot of people get it tied up in these emotional sides of politics, but what was last week? What was Congress calling last week? Do you know?
No.
No, Crypto Week. So I've been on your show, been a long time,
Yeah.
been on your show. I think the last time I was up here was like in March. Everyone was screaming that we were going into a recession because the stock market dropped so many points. I mean,
well, let me respond to that. I will say, because a lot of folks said the same thing was going to happen over the July 4th holiday. You weren't going to be at the Ford barbecue and things like that. The fact is, Trump, the trajectory that Trump promised to put us on has been changing. So like for instance, if Trump says I'm going to impose 50% tariffs on Canada, people make predictions based on them saying he's going to do that and how things are going to be in a few months. But the next day, he drops it down to 10%. So therefore, their projections are wrong because what he did when they made him, he has completely changed. When people were saying there was going to be a recession, it was based on that huge pamphlet of tariffs and things like that he held up. Most of that stuff has either been suspended or rescinded. So that's why you got the wrongful predictions.
No, most people were screaming when the stock market crashed. Well, they didn't crash.
Yeah, but why did it crash? The tariffs had something to do with that.
Yeah, it had some of it, yes, but it didn't have all of it. And what was passed this past week? I mean, your show is based on politics, but yet you don't know what Congress voted on and passed last week.
No, you didn't ask me what they voted on. You said what they call it. I am aware that they passed this crypto bill. I'm aware of that. You said they called it. What did you say they called it? Crypto week or something like that?
Yeah, it was crypto week. That's what I heard in the news. That's
Yeah,
what they kept calling it.
I can tell you this: hearing Congress refer to last week as Crypto Week, that's probably something you only heard in right-wing circles. The left is probably criticizing this shit too much. They're not going to call it Crypto Week. That's something. In fact, the left-wing Congress people are not calling it Crypto Week. That's a right-wing That's a right-wing phrase you're talking about. Everybody didn't call it Crypto Week.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe not. I don't watch a lot of right-wing news. I just watch unbiased.
They weren't calling it that on C-SPAN.
They weren't calling that on C-SPAN?
Yeah, they weren't calling it Crypto Week on C. I doubt if your local newspaper had a headline said Crypto Week. I mean, that's something you only hear in a specific place. You didn't hear that wasn't all over the place.
Yeah, I think Bloomberg probably was the first place I heard it. More finance. Not really left or right, just finance probably.
Right, fair enough. So you do see the country is going in a okay, you mentioned Crypto Week. I'm obviously assuming that you favor that. If you had to give me 3 things that Trump has done that you believe is really leading this country down a path of greatness.
Well, these 3 acts, right, that Congress voted on, the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, and then the anti-CBDC Act, and that's probably the most important one is the last one, and that's a central bank digital currency, and it's to prevent that happening, right? So that's actually going to, if we get that signed into law, give us more freedoms if we move to a digital currency with crypto.
Okay, you said the Genius Act, the anti-CBD. What was the second one you said?
The Clarity Act.
What is that?
I'm probably going to get them confused. One of them's dealing with stable coins.
Wait, hold on, real quick, just to interrupt. You pretty much are. You're just really into investing in crypto, right?
Crypto. I mean, just investing, saving for myself. I'm a small business owner, so no one's going to make my retirement but myself, right? So. Yeah, that's my biggest priority.
Okay. The reason I'm asking you that because I talked to MAGA a lot, and there's a whole lot of MAGA that sing the praises of Trump. And the 3 things you named, most MAGA, this would not be what they would. It would probably be the border or integrity of women's sports. I mean, it's pretty clear you're big in investing in crypto because I told you to give me 3 things, and they're all kind of right along the line of the same aspect of the presidency.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I voted for him for was the crypto, and so it's getting done. Everything else, I think, is really just pulling at people's emotions. I think he's doing some of these dumb things deliberately to stir up division.
I
don't put it past any of them.
Now you said the country's doing well, but you said he's doing dumb things. Give me a couple of dumb things you think Trump is doing. I didn't expect you to say that.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to criticize anybody. I mean, when they do
That's
something.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, look, here I am. I'm in Texas. We have a lot of immigrants. There's a lot of immigrant workers, and I haven't been seeing any raids like that, but I know they're happening, and I know people here are afraid of them being a part of that, right? And that shouldn't be where people should be that are here legally. They have their paperwork. Like my cousin. He owns a landscaping business. Every 6 months, he's taking workers to the border and getting more, bringing them back because their work visa. Hey, renew your work visa. I'll see you in 3 to 6 months. We got a whole new group to come help me. And these people are even afraid, more so than they have recently. And yeah, I think we don't need that to happen right now. I see that as more of a ploy to stir up the emotional side of politics.
Why do you think he would do something like? If you're saying that these are hardworking people that are doing nothing wrong, in fact, you refer to them as legal migrants. Why do you think he is doing this to people who have done nothing wrong?
Well, and like I said, I haven't seen any evidence of it being done. I've seen other than videos,
it's happening though. It's not all being. Hey, hold on a second, Harley. Wow, I'll address that in a minute. Go ahead. Wow, Harley, shout out. Holy shit. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, like videos, of course, I haven't seen any personal testimony, heard any personal testimony to it or anything like that. I know when I talk to immigrant workers, they're just afraid genuinely, and you hate for them for that, right? That they shouldn't be afraid to go to work. Because there might be a raid where they.
I don't think anybody in the country should be afraid of the government. I don't think that that's a good. I believe that if you are here illegally, you should be required to straighten out your situation, or you should be put out. But I don't think when you start scaring the shit out of people, that ain't good. I don't think scaring the population is not a good thing.
Well, see, I'm under the belief as the population, we should only trust the government so much anyways. So you got a little fear is okay for sure, but in our country, you should be able to go to work and not have fear of being mistaken or, taken into custody under false pretenses, things like that.
So you do acknowledge that under Trump, that stuff is even though you said you haven't seen it personally.
I mean, I know it's in the news,
right?
But why is it happening? Why did he allow it to happen? Right? Because he's He's president. He's calling the shots. So why is he allowing it to happen? I think it's more to the distraction of cause division.
But think about what you're saying there, Texas. You're admitting that Trump is potentially violating people's civil rights simply to create a distraction, while actively saying that what he's doing for America is good because he's doing well in crypto. I mean, you're okay with violating people's civil rights as long as he makes.
I'm not okay with it. Where did I say I was?
Well, you said he's doing. You said he's doing a good job.
Right. That's in something totally different field. That's why I said what's happening with that is stupid. They're two different things. Someone can do some good and some dumb. I'm pretty sure. Let me
rephrase it. Let me rephrase it. Can you be actively taking away people's civil rights and still be a good president?
Well, I mean, yeah, I believe you can. There's going to be some good things that happen. Like I said, I mean, every president has good things on their record and tarnishes on the record if you look at it, right? And both sides can say that, right? The left can praise how good Obama was. Someone from the right can tell you what he did to screw people over, right? So that's just always going to be in the books. But the biggest thing that people aren't realizing, because they're being divided, because they're being divided by emotion. You keep wanting to talk about the emotional side of these politics.
Taking away civil rights is talking. Taking away civil rights is talking emotion.
No, hold on. Let me get to my point. You yet to let me get to
you threw emotion in there, so you stirred it up on this side. But go ahead.
Get emotional about it. That's what I'm saying. You have to look at what they're passing, right, and the importance of it. If this anti-CBDC bill passes, it will, and we go to a cryptocurrency, that will eliminate the Federal Reserve. That will give us the ability to institute our own money, be our own banks, okay? And why don't they want the general public to know about that? Why isn't this being the most talked about thing? Why is it they had to create a distraction, right? So that's why they started doing more of these things on a social justice, level, taking away people's rights and infringing upon them and things like that, because they don't want you to look at what is being passed. And we got to remember that if this gets passed, that we have to keep it that way.
Wait, you said they don't want you to. You said they don't want you to look at what's being passed. Who are they? Who is trying to prevent you from looking at what's being passed?
Every congressperson there right now.
So on the right
House and Senate.
So you
on the right and the left. You know that 85% of the people elected in this last election received donations from cryptocurrency companies.
But this doesn't make sense what you're saying. You're saying they don't want you to see what's being passed. So that hold on. You're saying that they don't want you to see what's being passed. So they're creating this distraction about taking away people's civil rights. That's not coming from Congress, Texas. That's coming from Trump. Are you saying Trump don't want you to see what's being passed?
Exactly. Yeah. Every level of our government doesn't want us to know what they're passing right now. And these three acts and how vital they are to the stability and growth of our economy going forward. Not just that, but our rights that we should have. They're giving them to us right now. And if we don't know we have them, we're not going to know we lost them. Correct?
Well, let me just, and by the way, I want to, before I respond to you, I'm going to ask you folks, tap the screen. We should be around 50,000 on the like column. Tap the screen, get the likes up. I certainly would ask you to do that. It helps out the algorithm. If you're watching on YouTube or Instagram, smash that like button as well. Helps out the show, helps out the algorithm. We try to bring an entertaining program. So smash that like button. But here's what, based on what you're saying, Texas, now Trump promised to drain the swamp and go after the deep state. You're really making him sound like he's one of them.
Well, I mean, did he not prove that when he said, why does everybody care about Epstein still? I mean, did we not? I knew that. Now, did the far right MAGA people know that? I don't know. I'm not a far right MAGA person. I can sit here and tell you when Trump does something stupid or immoral or wrong. Can they? No, they can't.
I started out by asking you about the state of the nation. You said the nation is doing great, and you made it sound like Trump was doing a good job. Yet outside of these crypto-related pieces of legislation, you're really kind of making him sound like a piece of shit there, Texas.
I mean, he's good at doing that himself. Really.
He's hiding things from the public. You're bringing up Epstein. You're saying you don't want the crypto bill to be known. You're admitting that he's taking away civil rights. This is a good dude, according to you.
No, he's doing what's right for the state of the nation. That's what I said. He's doing what's right. The state of the nation is in a good trajectory based off of the acts that they voted on in the House. One, the Genius Act that got signed into law, and the two that will be voted through the Senate and then signed into law by him. That's not just him making the state of the nation good. That's our Congress doing exactly what they should do.
The state of the nation.
Hold on, let me give you a little, and you might be able to pull this up because this was what gets me, right?
Okay.
What's her dumbass name? Hold on. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, the one that believes we can make hurricanes. Okay.
Yeah.
If you can find her, she voted against, in the House, she voted against passing the Genius Act in their little committee or whatever first. And when she was asked why, she said because it doesn't have any anti-CBDC legislation in it. Now, why would she say that, Tim, if there's this whole separate act that they vote on to pass for anti-CBDCs?
Well, it sounded like she was lying.
Exactly, because they lie. They play games, right? This is what they do because they don't expect us to pay attention.
I'm going to say,
get tied up emotionally, get distracted by what they want us to get distracted by, all while what they're really doing is giving us laws that we don't know and understand as a mass majority, right? Well, most of your Americans aren't going to understand what a CBDC is.
But how do you respond, and I don't know a lot about crypto either, but in the comments, Highway Juice says, do you know how many times North Korea has hacked into crypto? How do you respond to the fact that something like that is possible?
Hacking into crypto?
Yeah.
I don't know in what way they're talking about hacking into crypto.
I mean, I assume, like I said, I don't know a lot about it, but I assume it could be anything from hacking into your crypto wallet or however, I mean, going after the money, basically.
They can hack into crypto wallets, and there's a lot more in that people don't understand, like hot and cold wallets, right? That unfortunately people probably will not learn until it's too late as we move towards cryptocurrency. I would tell that person, you're out of your mind if you think the world is not moving towards cryptocurrency. Just look at the prices of cryptocurrencies in the last week since crypto week, quote unquote, started.
I can't speak on cryptocurrency, which I'm admitting I'm ignorant on that, but when you're starting to talk about the president's taking away civil rights, I don't even, the crypto thing goes in one ear and not the other. I'm going to lose civil rights, but I'm going to get access to more crypto.
Exactly, Tim, and that's what I'm trying to get you to focus on. Why let it go in one ear and out the other when this does directly affect all of us? Listen to what I'm saying. If we're going to a cryptocurrency, right, a cryptocurrency-backed economy, no longer a gold standard, we're going to be backed by stable coins, which is T-bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then why are you not concerned how the government is going to regulate them?
I can answer that simple by saying in our history, we have a lengthy period of time where people lost civil rights, and that affected people like me more than anybody else. So when we're talking about crypto and we're talking about civil rights, I'm just gonna be honest with you. All I hear is civil rights being lost. All that crypto shit starts to sound really small. When you start having a conversation about people in America losing civil rights, that draws a lot of attention from me because of the history of America. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that there's no weight in it. I'm not saying there's no reason for any concern and no reason for you to be up here talking about. All I'm trying right now is to plant a little seed for you and your listeners that you need to be paying more attention to what they're doing they're setting up the frameworks and the regulation for the future currency, and not just our nation, but the world and governments across, right? And we need to know what we should hold our Congress and our president and everybody accountable for when in dealing with these cryptocurrencies. It's easy to get distracted, to get ourselves, one-sided and focus only on one problem and one aspect of our being, when the government has right now, hopefully will pass, that they cannot have control over our cryptocurrency, right? And as long as that passes, we have that freedom. But if people don't know about it, they won't know when it's gone. And then you won't see them voting on it 5-6 years down the road when they say, well, never mind, we want CBDCs. Well, what does that do? That allows the government to say, hey, guess what, Tim? We don't like what you've been doing, so we're seizing all your assets. We're seizing all your cryptocurrency, and you have nothing now. I think that's a little important, too.
I think it's important. I got to move it on, but like I said, to me, losing civil rights is more important than that. That's just my opinion. I got to move it on to Texas.
Don't take away from it, Tim. I'm saying just focus on a little something else. Just pay a little more attention, okay? And maybe make a little money. All right? That's wealth, love, and authenticity to everyone here.
I'm not going to argue with the money part. Texas, thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate you coming back through. My door's always open to you, man. Thank you.
Good seeing you too.
You too. All right, moving on with the program. I want to, before I address that last conversation, Harley, biggest donation I've ever seen come through the show, states, go big, go Trump, go America, MAGA. MAGA. Wow. Harley says, go big, go Trump, go America. Thanks, Tim, for fair and balanced platform. Harley, my God, thank you. Thank you very, very much. I have never seen a single donation like that. Wow. Thank you, Harley. Will G says crypto is going to be hell. Everyone is going to come out with a coin and lie and say it will be the official currency of the U.S. and dupe the hell out of the people's money. Meanwhile, the dollar remains. Probably the gold standard, in my opinion, is probably what you're safe with. Probably the safest thing you can. I mean, gold, for some reason, gold seems to always be there. But I do agree with what Will is saying, that with so many different cryptos, I guess right now under the Trump administration, if you're going to really, like I said, I'm admitting ignorance here, so I'm just speculating. I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about crypto. But I'm just going to say this, under the Trump administration, Trump is, remember what he said, vote for me and you're going to get tired of winning? He is Teflon Don. Yeah, the people around him get arrested. They lose their law license and all that kind of shit. But Trump survives everything. I will, maybe not the swollen ankles, but he's going to survive everything else. I will say this. In regards to crypto, if I'm going to get deep into crypto, I'm going to go with whatever Trump recommends, at least while he's president, because you can best believe behind the scenes, he's doing whatever it takes to make his shit better than everybody else's. So I don't know anything about crypto. I'm just going to tell you that. But right now with Trump surviving everything, bullying everyone, suing media, suing, colleges, suing fucking law firms, and winning on all of that stuff. He is literally using the president to bully all sorts of organizations. Now he's suing Rupert Murdoch and the Wall Street Journal. Wouldn't surprise me if they end up settling behind the scenes. He sued Paramount, which is what widely believed to be why Stephen Colbert is going off the air. Now, I know if you watch right-wing media, they're going to suggest to you that Stephen Colbert was not funny and they're too far to the left and all that bullshit. Well, let me tell you something. While the right is criticizing Stephen Colbert and saying he's going too far to the left and the show is only about left-wing shit, Trump had no problem praising Greg Gutfeld of Fox News. Greg Gutfeld does the same thing Stephen Colbert does in reverse. And Trump, in the very same email, praising the firing of Stephen Colbert, gave credit to Greg Gutfeld, who literally does the same thing. So the fact is simple. You don't give a damn about a talk show host at night being politically biased. You just want one that's on your side. Because Greg Gutfeld is doing the same thing Stephen Colbert does. He just does it for the other side. So the whole Paramount was merging with I can't think of the company that Paramount was about to merge with. And just like with the Redskins, you know, or the Washington Commanders, whatever, is that the name of that team? Washington, yeah, Commanders, formerly known as the Redskins. They are about to purchase a bigger stadium in DC. Trump controls whether these deals happen or not. And what he is doing is getting in the middle of this shit and seeing what he can get out of it for him. If I have to review your deal to see if you can merge with this company or see if you can get a bigger stadium, I'm gonna look at your deal and see how I can benefit out of it. That's fucking corrupt. That is, for all of my right folks on the right side of the aisle that believe in small government and, you know, federal government not, how the fuck is that okay? The president telling the football team that they have to go back to their old name or he's not going to approve a deal for a new stadium. How is that okay? Because that's what he's doing to the Washington Commanders, demanding they rename themselves the Redskins. And that is what he did, many believe, with getting Stephen Colbert fired, is that Paramount, who is the studio that runs or that produces the Colbert Show, the Stephen Colbert Show, they were merging with another studio or another conglomerate. I cannot think of the name of the company or somebody in the comments could probably let me know, but they were merging. And once again, Trump controls whether that merger can Skydance Media. Thank you, King Finn. So Paramount and Skydance Media are trying to merge, and Trump gets to say so on whether that merger happens or not. And because Paramount has control over Stephen Colbert, Trump is threatening, well, you're not going to get the merger. If you don't get rid of this guy who hates me, I'm not going to let you merge. That is corrupt. That start taking the opposition off television, whether it's him getting rid of public radio, NPR, a lot of folks are celebrating that. He is literally going after media outlets that do not like him and using influence to destroy them and allowing right-wing media that favors him to survive. That's fucking corrupt. I mean, look, we can talk about the big, beautiful bill or how he secured the border and protected the integrity of women's sports, things that he's done that you may feel is okay, fine. And he has done a good job securing the border. But this shit right here is corrupt. I mean, we're going to end up living in a world where everybody on TV speaks favorably of Trump and there's little to no one that speaks ill of him. That's North Korea. That is fucking North Korea. That's where he is trying to take us right now. And there's enough evidence there where it's no longer a liberal fear-mongering or speculating. There's enough evidence that he's doing that. And the right is constantly saying, yay, 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 we like this. You're gonna get in position where even if you're on the right, like with the Epstein shit, there are things on the right that folks have issues with Trump. You're gonna find yourself in a position where you can't say anything negative about the guy. That's North Korea. That really is. So I don't know how so many people are ignoring him getting involved in deals if the people that are making the deals do not bow to his will. Demanding a football team change their name. How the fuck is that okay? Anyway, tap the screen. And once again, thank you, Will G and Harley. Man, Harley, thank you. Will G says, we forget that Trump duped the hell out of his own supporters when he and Melania came out with their own meme coin. How is that meme? I don't know. Did he really dupe them? How is the meme coin that Melania has and Trump has, how is it doing? I mean, if it's doing well, he didn't dupe them. I don't know how, like I said, I don't get involved in meme coins. So, but I would, if I was going to get involved in it, I would find out where Trump and some of the upper echelons of his administration, what are they promoting? Get into it then and probably get out of it right before they leave office. That's what I would suggest. They're going to be a backdoor clause in that bill that says freedom for me and not for thee. Like I said, right now we got a president. By the way, the entire spiel, the entire rant I gave you on how Trump is interfering with deals, trying to get shit. He's also doing that with the nation of Brazil, by the way. Their former president down there in Brazil is accused by the government of that country of trying to stage a coup and not leave power. They're holding him accountable criminally for that. Trump is punishing the nation of Brazil because he doesn't like what they're doing to this guy who he was quite fond of during his first term. Trump was a big friend or a big fan of the previous president of Brazil. So he's going to punish Brazil by imposing a 50% tariff on all of their country. So that's the only reason he's doing that. He's going to impose a 50% tariff on Brazil because he doesn't like the fact that they're holding someone he used to be fond of accountable for, he's interfering with their system. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that what Brazil is doing is right or wrong. I don't know enough about the case. I just know that they believe he tried to stage a coup. They're holding him accountable for it. Trump doesn't want him held accountable for it. So therefore, Trump is imposing a 50% tariff on Brazil in protest. This is corrupt shit. We can talk about the economy and securing the border and things he's done as well, but some of this stuff is corrupt. Which is what the president of Brazil said. He said that Trump is not emperor of the world. I mean, some of this stuff is corrupt, man. I'm just going to tell you. Well, G says, I remember way back on this show, some jack in the box gave Trump credit for giving the stadium to the Commanders when Trump had nothing to do with anything other than show up at the right time. I do recall that happening myself too, Will. I actually recall when that happened. Let me go back to the box, though. Wow. Stick the ruler, thank you for holding Stick. Controlling the narrative in the media. And like what my last caller was talking about, real quick, I wanted to comment on what he said. He was a big fan of cryptocurrency and things like that. If it's making him a bunch of money, kudos to him. But I'm not going to turn a blind eye to people losing their civil rights because I can make extra money. This is why I've said on the show many times before in the past, is that I strongly believe if you put money in people's pockets, you could bring back slavery. People would turn a blind eye to any damn thing. This is what the Hispanic community is now saying. We voted for him because we thought he was going to make life easier for us. Even though he's talking about the largest deportation in history. You didn't think anybody that looked like you might at least get profiled? You were so focused on cheap eggs, huh? Cheap waivers. Stick, good evening.
Hey, what's going on, Tim?
I don't even know, man. Losing civil rights for cryptocurrency. What say you?
Man, I don't like the cryptocurrency thing because number one, it wasn't regulated to begin with, and now all of a sudden Trump coming in and now he wants to regulate. But before we get to the meat and potatoes of that Jeremy guy with the common sense thing, man. Oh, yeah, I feel kind of dumb right now. I feel kind of like, damn, like what?
What did he say? What did he say that you really disagree with?
I mean, you asked him about common sense laws. Common sense laws, and if Jeremy was still listening, bro, this is all he was trying to make you understand. Why does a person without any limbs whatsoever that can pull, squeeze, anything, why would they need that, bro? Like, what was so hard to understand? Why would they need it? You talking about pulley levers and all of this stuff, but then y'all quick to talk about how Democrats talk about crazy left shit. I guess that's crazy right shit. Them levers to for a firearm that you gotta pull with your teeth. Come on, man.
Listen. Let me
what
just.
was I listening to, Tim?
Well, fact is, some people like, we have these conversations. There is a back and forth to it. It is a debate. There's a skill to a debate or an argument of sort. Some people just don't like to be,
He
they
got
don't
no
like to
skill.
feel like maybe they're losing a debate or something. And I'm not always here to win. I learn from you folks, just like some of you folks may learn from me. But when you start talking about a blind person building a system of pulleys to use their teeth to fire,
It's
I
like how do they aim it? I mean, like what they got something on, they can push their head on it and like wiggle it back and forth. I don't know. Like what? I'm just saying it was a moment, Tim, that I lost brain cells.
don't. Yeah.
I really did. I lost some because I was so confused. I didn't understand why he didn't understand what you were saying. Like he went on this total, if sharks are in the water,
He was just not going to.
It was one of those moments.
He was just not going to concede the fact that there's any legitimate reason for preventing a blind person with no limbs from holding a firearm. He could use his teeth to shoot your ass.
Like what? Like anyway, So I mean, I get it, Tim. I mean, the show is very entertaining, but like when they come up and they say stuff like that, Tim, it's just kind of like, man.
Well, hold on 1 second for a minute. Hold on 1 second for a minute, Stick. I don't know. I mean, I appreciate the show being entertaining. I appreciate your compliment as well as others, but there's some folks tonight. I have never seen the amount of love that's coming through. Harley and Matthew, Mazur, and Will G. And I see Ed, you said, kind of sounds like when the Democrats illegally blocked Elon from selling 50 million in stock options after he became a GOP that Tesla shareholders agreed to. I don't know why they did it. I don't know the story behind that, Ed. I'm not disagreeing. It probably did happen. I'd have to hear the Democrat play for why they did that. But wow, some of you folks tonight.
But guess what?
Go ahead.
Guess what? Guess what, Tim? With that being said, y'all don't like him anyway. I mean, so you saying that to throw it out? It's just like you saying, well, Obama deported more people.
Yeah.
Like. That's what you want. You want the deportations. And when Obama did it, you didn't say anything then. So why you saying something now? You didn't say anything about when they did it then. It's just coming up because Trump did it, right?
Yeah. Well, but they're gonna push back and say the same thing when Obama was separating kids and families and putting kids in cages. The liberals
and guess what? Guess what? It only came out after it came out that Trump was doing it. Yeah. Then they want to look back and say, well, Obama did it. But why wouldn't y'all say nothing about it? Y'all love
that's a great
saying something about what Obama was doing to the kids.
That's a great point, and that is true. Is that when Obama was doing that, there were some people who protest because I've put pictures of people doing it, but most Americans did not know Obama was doing it. One reason being Obama didn't go on TV and brag about doing it, and the other reason is what you said. The right was not really criticizing him for doing it.
No, they wasn't giving him his kudos for the numbers that he put up. He didn't get any recognition for that.
No.
They gave it to Tom Homan or the same dude that's doing it for Trump right now. They gave him the credit, but then it wasn't loud like it is now. And then he's doing less numbers now, breaking laws now, and Obama didn't do any of that. He didn't need masked men running up on people with no ID, not telling them who they are.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm really surprised.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Tim. I'm gonna be honest with you, Tim. You can't do that in certain neighborhoods.
What, run up with mask on?
I don't care that you got ice on the front. I'm just telling you what it is, Tim. You got people that want all the smoke. You got people you're gonna run up on that are veterans with PTSD, and they're gonna give you that Rambo shit.
I want to agree with you, but when you look at how heavily armed ICE is, Trump is giving them access to MRAMs and military vehicles, even in areas where people want all the smoke. I think that if ICE comes through the neighborhood and they start doing illegal shit or doing things that are wrong, and somebody, some veteran or some gangbanger that don't like it decides to pop off and take out a member of ICE, Trump's just going to respond by sending quadruple the number of ICE in there the next day. Trump is hold on. Trump is escalatory. So Trump wants to win. So if somebody decides to go after ICE, Trump wants to win. He will go after the whole neighborhood, kind of like a mob boss or somebody. If you mess with me, I'll take out your whole family.
And guess what? He probably would. But guess what? They already in that predicament. They don't care. These little young YNs, that's what we call them, right? These little young YNs, right? They don't care. So yeah, do that if you want to. You trust me. They're gonna lose people just like we're gonna lose people.
September 2nd.
Lose people just like
September 2nd, mark the day. If you're saying that these young YNs, young Negroes, for lack of a better term, if you're saying that they want smoke and they're gonna mess with ICE if ICE messes with them, mark down the date September 2nd. As of September 2nd, I think a judge. Let me correct that because a judge stopped Trump from doing it, but he had made it so that all of the Haitian migrants that are in this country under TPS, which is like 500,000 of them, had to be out of the country by September 2nd or they were going to become a fugitive. And that means Trump is going to be going in black neighborhoods getting them. But a judge suspended that. A judge blocked Trump from doing it, I think, last week. So they don't have to leave by September 2nd anymore. But he wanted them out by the 2nd of September. In fact, TPS status has a certain time frame. It's only temporary. But what Trump was trying to do was shorten that time. And a judge, I think they knocked it out till February or something like that.
Well, check it out, Tim. Again, Haiti is a rebel country. It became Haiti and got its independence by doing what it needed to do to get them up off their land. And, they're getting punished because I think they got sanctions on them and the French won't pay them what they owe. And it's just a whole bunch of stuff going on in Haiti. And that's why they're in chaos the way they are. Well, but with that, with chaos, what happens is when you don't have nothing else to lose, you tend to just do some other stuff that you.
I'm seeing a lot of Hispanics being sent home, and they're not putting up their fight. Real quick, in the comments, hold on, hang on, Harley and Matthew Missouri. I will respond to you in kind. I just want to give the guests. But I certainly appreciate your support of the show, no doubt. I will respond to your comments. But so you're saying even though the Hispanics are not doing any of this stuff, do you believe they may do something like that in the near future?
I feel like if they go in the right Hispanic neighborhood, maybe in somewhere like East LA with the dumb shit, I feel like a lot of them, just like the one where they was at the cannabis farm, right? And the dude was busting back at him.
Didn't somebody at that cannabis farm die?
I don't even know, Tim. I don't even know that part. I just seen the part where they on every news channel they had everything dark and the circle around the guy with the pew pew shooting back at ICE.
I think the problem is
ICE had pellet guns.
Yeah, but like I said, Trump likes to win. If you start having people popping ICE, Trump is just going to up the game and give them more permission to shoot. I mean, Trump is going to escalate that. It's going to be Trump will start patterning that shit after Netanyahu. I mean, and
I hear you too, but he's also the person too that snuck over El Chapo's people. So we know that he tries and wants to be a gangster. We know if there's anybody in this world that can mirror Trump, is Pablo. Pablo was a self-proclaimed billionaire that wanted to be in government, got his seat. When they came corrupt at him, he turned into a T group. So we got a T group on our hands. Just like you said, that's corruption. Yeah. All of that stuff he's trying to do towards another country and being in their basic elections and however they're trying to handle their business.
I mean, he was doing that to Zelensky for a while too with the perfect phone call. That's why he was threatening. That's why he originally halted aid to the Ukrainians. He was pissed off with them cooperating with the liberal government in this country.
So again, it's in our face. We see it. It's just the people who actually have the majority and the power to say, you know what, we can hold you accountable, they're not going to do it. They all are cronies. They all are do boys and do girls, and they've all sat in their laps, including Pam Bundy. Yeah, they was all sitting in the laps of Trump and Epstein and anybody else. So
should we go ahead and get him in the crown and all bow down?
No, we shouldn't do that. But what we should do is, if you are a United States citizen and they come at you, hey, it says we're supposed to defend ourselves since a government that's terrorizing and tyranny. We're not supposed to allow that. So if your representation, which is the House and the Senate, won't get their ass right, and they come to you and you know you got every right to defend yourself, do it. Because we just had somebody down here in Jacksonville on a minor scale with the police. He was sitting in this.
I wanted to do a live on it. I am aware of that. The guy, they claim he didn't have his headlights on in the fog or something. But I will say, I know Gangsta Grandma in particular would say I'm fluffing on this, but I do believe, even if it's wrong, if the cops tell you to get out of the car, get out of the damn car. All of this, why you pull me over? Look, I'm just gonna tell you, you're not gonna win that argument on the side of the road, even if it's a bullshit stop. Get out of the car.
Listen, Tim. Once that man said, "Can I speak to your supervisor?" Just like saying, "Can I talk? I don't want to say nothing till my lawyer get here." Lawyer, you know how people can just say lawyer and then it's the same thing.
Yeah, but you gotta read the room, man. If you know if you're talking to somebody who's gonna follow the law.
Tim, I ain't trying to hear no excuses about this, because this is the law. This is the law, Tim. I asked you, as a citizen that has rights, that is a United States citizen, to please go get your supervisor. Everybody should have been doing what they were doing in the video, standing around looking stupid, waiting on the supervisor.
I don't know if they have to do that. I mean, if you get pulled over doing a traffic stop, you're saying that anytime you get pulled over on a traffic stop, you can demand that the cop supervisor show up.
At any point, you can say, "Can I speak to a supervisor? Can you call your supervisor here?"
And they can't say no. And they can't say no.
Just like they have to tell you their badge number, their name and their badge number, all of that. It's the same thing. It falls up under the same category.
I didn't know that.
So if we're gonna tell the citizens to go by the law, so does the law. They need to go by the law.
I did not know that.
And that's just real.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's just real.
I did not know that. I gotta move it on, no stick. That's a whole different conversation. I thought about coming over here and discussing that. If you and I had talked about it earlier in our conversation, I would have covered it more. But Stick, appreciate you coming through.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, Tim.
Same. Always a pleasure. Real quick, I do want to continue. Harley, thank you. Wow, this is crazy. Harley and certainly Matthew as well. The government did not cause my success and wealth, says Harley. Hard work, dedication, and loving and serving God was the key. Well, I'm not going to get in the way of religion. If your deity directed you to success, health, peace of mind, whatever the case may be, that is, I can only suggest, to continue that is a good thing. In regards to the government not causing your success, no, if you work hard, but the government can prohibit success. They can get in the way of it. I mean, they absolutely can get in the way of it. But thank you for sharing a small amount of your success and wealth there, Harley. Thank you for supporting the show. Absolutely appreciate that. And the same to you, Matthew Mazur. Something Gaming Nation, Solivance Gaming Nation says Trump set up ERS to prevent mass de-dollarization. So what are you saying there? He's setting up something to prevent a mass exodus from using the dollar? More than 60% of US dollars overseas, what happens when it's dumped in exchange for goods? Hyperinflation. I can see gold revalued and start backing new treasury bills to keep rates low. Now I know BRICS, he mentioned BRICS, because they're trying to get away from the U.S. dollar. So I have heard this, even though I'm ignorant on some of this stuff, I have heard some of what you're talking about, Matthew, because Trump did say he was going to impose, I think, 10% tariff on all BRICS nations. Now, this is where I have the issue. When I mentioned corruption earlier, if countries are charging us unfair tariffs to sell our products in their countries and we're not charging the same here, I agree with Trump. You should fix that trade imbalance, which is why originally I spoke favorably of Trump imposing tariffs on some of China in particular. I don't think he should be imposing tariffs on Madagascar and some of these nations, but China in particular. However, Trump has moved from simply imposing tariffs to correct the trade imbalance to using tariffs as weapons. I'm not a fan whatsoever of using a tariff as a weapon. At that point, in my opinion, that's corruption. And he clearly is in that area now, such as suggesting he's going to impose a 10% tariff on all the BRICS nations. That has nothing to do with a trade imbalance. They would rather sway away from the US dollar standard, and you just gonna punish them because you want the US dollar to continue ruling the world. That's using a tariff as a weapon. And that's where I don't favor that. Tim with the train. Shout out to you. Thank you very much, Tim. Unbelievable, you guys tonight. Wow. But looking in the comments, moving on. Yeah, I'm not a fan of using tariffs as a weapon. Trump is, you, in my opinion, and this is where you guys can disagree with me. And when I say I run an uncensored program, I mean it. By the way, we 70,000. Make the tap the likes, tap the screen, get the likes up to about 70,000. Take the next caller at that point. I'm not a fan of. Remember, he told Sean Hannity, "I'm going to be too busy making America great to focus on retribution." Boy, did those words not age very well. That is like every other day he's doing something that is out of revenge. Now we're talking about locking up Barack Obama and going back to Hillary Clinton's emails. Remember, he made that promise to Sean Hannity when Sean Hannity asked him, people were saying you're going to be about retribution, and he said, "No, I'm going to be too busy making the country great to do that." He lied. There's no denying he lied. And of course, if you're on the right side of the aisle, if you're MAGA, you like him going after the people you think are bad for this country. Fair enough, but he said he wasn't going to do it. He said he was not going to do it, and he clearly is doing that. He is going after colleges. I mean, he's going after media outlets. He's going after law firms that work with Mueller or Jack Smith. I mean, he's literally going after every perceived enemy he's ever had. So he promised not to be about retribution, got elected, and became a president of extreme retribution, which is probably why you don't even hear many members of Congress criticizing him at all, even on the right. Hell, even Dan Bongino and Cash Patel, they're starting to change their tune even on the Epstein shit. I mean, retribution is everywhere. People are scared to speak or say any damn thing because he will hit you and go after you. Yet he promised he wasn't going to be about retribution. Barack is a deflect from Epstein. Okay, and I agree with that. I believe Barack Obama is a deflect as well, but it's still threatening retribution. It is threatening. You believe that Barack Obama has something to do with the Russia case, and you want to take revenge by accusing the guy of treason. He just tweeted out a picture, took to social media, I think they call it a truth on his network, posted a picture of, an AI picture of Barack Obama being taken into custody. They're sitting down, I think, the Oval Office or something like that. And the authorities walk up and they put Obama on his knees and put him in the handcuffs. And then the video shows Barack Obama behind a cell, incarcerated somewhere. Trump sent that out. That came from Trump. So now he has sent out a picture of Barack Obama being taken into custody, and also a picture of Joe Biden hog-tied in the back of a pickup truck. It's come from the actual president of the United States. So just want to say, when folks talk about Trump derangement syndrome and wonder why people don't like Trump, that ain't got nothing to do with making America great again. That's just done to make people don't like him, to make people not like him. And it's working, by the way. It is working. Angie says, Dems, we the party for higher wages, but we also get caught with hundreds of illegals in Wait a minute. Okay, Edgy, you're saying the Democrats are claiming to be the party of higher wages, but they're also the party that get caught with hundreds of illegals and paying them way below minimum wage. Not that doesn't help keep wages low. I don't. You say the Democrats are getting caught with hundreds of illegals that they're paying them way low. Where is that happening at? Where is the Democratic Party responsible for hiring illegals and paying them way below? I'm not aware. In fact, I'm under the impression they work for hotels, construction sites, farms. You pinning all that on Democrats? Show me. Let me explain to me how the Democrats are doing that. I think Americans are doing that shit. Americans are exploiting them for cheap labor. It's not just Democrats. I'm make sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, okay. The government did not. Okay, I saw that from Harley. Yeah, thank you, Harley, and and others. Wow. Real quick in the comments before we move on. We had 70,000. Tap the screen, get the lights up. Donald Trump hotel, casino, and golf course. What about it? But Republicans use that weak ass argument to justify deportation. You know, the thing about it is, if we get rid of these immigrants, I don't think U.S. salaries are going to go up. I mean, I get that they're supposed to be taking American jobs and all this shit. What's going to happen? We'll get out the immigrants that we don't want here, get the numbers under control, maybe reduce the fear of replacement, which I believe is what this is all about at the end of the day. And once all of that is satisfied, we'll bring in just enough of them to do the job and continue paying them shit wages. The folks that want to hire immigrants do not want to pay them salaries commiserate with American labor laws. They don't want to pay that. So what will end up happening is you'll get all these people out, and then those places of business will lobby to the right politician to get some kind of workers visa or something like that, to just get enough of them in here to work during the day, to pay them low meager ass wages. They can come across the border, or they can come and stay for a few months or whatever, and send them back. You're not going to see Americans benefit from that. I just don't believe that. I don't believe a bunch of capitalists are going to let Trump cause them to pay more for their employees. Trump is a capitalist. As opposed to paying my employees more money, I would rather get together with a bunch of other capitalists and pay Trump off to get off our fucking backs. Because Trump can be paid off. Trump can be bought. So if he's fucking with the farms and taking away my cheap labor, then I would go around and talk to other farmers and say, what do we got to do to pay this guy off and get him off our back and allow him to, and cause him to pass a law that we can bring back our cheap labor? Trump can be bought. I think Elon Musk overwhelmingly proved that. Elon Musk proved that beyond a shadow of a doubt. Trump can definitely be bought. So that's what you would have to do. And that's the next politician is going to be able to be bought too. Calling the Trump derangement syndrome is a lazy way to avoid addressing the actual facts. Criticizing criminal behavior isn't deranged. It's civic responsibility. I agree with that. 100%. John Wingate says, "You so crazy." Sounds like something out of the 90s Martin Lawrence TV show. You so crazy. All right. Tap the screen. Are we at 70,000? We'll take the next caller there. Keep up the government bailed out farms in the still struggling. Well, like I said, the capitalists in this country get their way. The 1% is going to get their way. The same reason why you had manufacturing go to China and Vietnam and the Philippines and all that other shit. They know how to buy off the right politicians to get legislation passed so that they can keep making a fortune and skirting the labor laws and paying you and I a decent salary. They know how to do that. That's not going to end. Trump is not going to stop that. He can put a temporary speed bump in it, but he's not going to stop that. Simply put. In fact, it may put a ton of money in Trump's legacy. It may cost, just Trump ain't going to be around that long, but I mean, it'll put a bunch of money in Trump's family tree. I mean, because like I said, if a deal is taking place between companies or corporations or whatever, even countries, if a deal is taking place and Trump can interfere with the deal and make something out of it, he's going to do that. So, okay, you want cheap labor back? What can you do for me? If you need me to pass legislation to allow you to have migrant workers come over here on a work visa or be able to stay for 6 months or what am I getting out of it? That's the way Trump comes at it. What am I getting out of it? So you have to grease his palm, you'll get it. It's as simple as that. That's why he's involved in the deal between the Redskins and, like I said, why he got Stephen Colbert fired. What am I getting out of it? He wants to be involved in deals. If it's up to him to approve a deal, he's not going to approve. He's not going to approve any deal unless some kind of way somehow he's getting something out of it. That's how it works. And like I said, that is corrupt. I agree with you, Charles Vaughn. Every president does. Look at any of their before and after net worth. Well, I'm not going to disagree with you, but Trump makes it fucking obvious. Trump makes it obvious because he's not just greasing his palms, he's taking out enemies of his, which makes it pretty obvious. Like I said, Stephen Colbert, which the right is celebrating his termination, out of the what is it, the 10:30 East 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern time slot. You got Fallon, Kimmel, and Colbert, and I think Conan O'Brien. He's number one in that time slot. He's number one. So don't let people tell you that they got rid of him because it's a financial decision or his ratings. He's got his ratings are better than Kimmel and Fallon. He was number one in that slot. They got rid of him because Trump was interfering with that deal. That will come out eventually. It's not going to come out under the Trump administration because Trump would just fuck with you again. This is why I said before that the next president is probably going to have to pass some kind of law or Congress or whatever, that people who were wronged by the Trump administration cannot get any significant relief because it would bankrupt the country. These people are going to come forward and make it clear that somebody got threatened by Trump that if we don't get rid of Colbert, this deal isn't going to go through. That almost certainly happened, despite what they're telling you. But they tout themselves as the party for higher wages. You said Trump should have been quiet about Epstein. Now he has to answer for it. I don't think Trump has the answer for Epstein. I don't think that MAGA is going to get rid of Trump if he don't answer for Epstein. I think that you're going to have some folks that are critical of Trump, but overall, I think Trump, if he lies about Epstein, he will survive. And by the way, it ain't like it's not like he has to run again. The guy's 79 years of age. I don't think MAGA's, if Trump doesn't come clean on Epstein, you're going to get a protest, but MAGA's still going to continue voting for the right. They're going to still continue supporting Trump's policy. So I don't think Trump will be held accountable for Epstein, other than people getting pissed off and maybe saying negative shit about him, but that's about it. But you said he's going to answer for it. Why you guys so quiet on what the Democrats constantly promise, or you only criticize Trump? Here's the problem with that, though. I get your point, Ed, but here's the problem. Thank you for your support for certain. Here's the problem with that. The right, the Trump supporters are trying to make it sound like it is Trump being attacked by the left, by the Democratic Party in regards to Epstein. That's not what's happening. The Democratic Party has actually piled on to the likes of Bongino, Kash Patel, Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. No, the right is who is attacking Trump. It ain't the left. Throughout the Biden administration, the left wasn't pushing for Epstein shit. The right was. This has always been a right-wing issue going against, demanding that the facts of the Epstein case come to light. It's always been coming from the right. It hasn't been coming from the left. Now that Trump is in office and reneging on his promise to give folks information, and the right is pissed off, the left is going to pile on under the guise of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I mean, the left is going to be happy with anybody that attacks Trump. Some of them are celebrating Elon Musk attacking Trump. And we know Elon is the left is no fan of Elon. But anybody that attacks Trump is going to, just like anybody that attacks the left, is going to get favoritism from the right. But no, the Epstein thing is not a liberal fabrication. That is from the right, overwhelmingly from the right. And the liberals now see that the leadership of the right is pissed off with Trump. And then, yeah, they're just making a fuss about it. But no, that's coming from the right. Will G says Trump coins were strictly in support of Trump. 80% of the money went straight to Trump's pockets. Damn. While people without money into the coins were expecting an ROI, but didn't read the fine print. Rug pull. Like I said, I'm ignorant on it, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's how it went down. Anything Trump is involved in, Trump is going to be the number one profiteer from it. And I see in the comments, King Finn has said it's a Ponzi scheme. I do believe to some degree crypto is the future, like what my other caller was saying. I just don't know enough about it to really get deep into it. I don't know enough about it. My last caller was one of my callers was really big on it to the point where he was willing to overlook civil rights violations just because Trump is promoting crypto. Dencal, good evening. Dencal, do you dibble in crypto?
I do. Yes, I do.
Do you believe what Trump has been doing, as my caller stated? Do you think it's been a good thing?
No. No, what people don't understand, he's talking about all these laws that are being passed. The only thing that's doing is trying to control crypto, because they don't want crypto to really be a currency because you can't control it. America, we can control the dollar. They don't want nothing out there that can be transferred and with no accountability.
So what you're saying is he is essentially trying to remove the primary benefit of crypto, the fact that it's crypt, that you don't know what's going on. He's trying to remove that and make it regulated.
Right. It's called what is it? Decentralized.
Right.
So nobody has control. That's what it was the original purpose is. But the government in America now, what he's trying to do is he's trying to create a way that we can control it, and we can have say on how it's used. That's all they're trying to do. And why he would, one thing that really bothers me about people like that is how they can compartmentalize. They can compartmentalize things that's beneficial for them and just be like, fuck everybody else.
That's exactly what he was doing. But I will give him credit for one thing he said. Now, if Trump is trying to do what you just stated, and I kind of agree with that, where he's trying to make crypto regulated because we might lose control of the dollar being the standard. If he can start standardizing and having worldwide control of crypto, it would continue to ensure America is one of the wealthiest countries on earth. He's trying to control the world currency. Right now, with the dollar, we already do that to some degree. So what he's doing while being corrupt, I mean, it would benefit this nation, would it not?
No, that's not how crypto was invented or set up to be. It was actually invented to be exactly opposite of what people are trying to use it for or trying to control it. There are countries that have been using cryptocurrency as like their main, their main like dollar for years. The problem is with cryptocurrency, it's volatile like the stock market. So when Trump is trying to make, he's trying to use cryptocurrency, or he's trying to use Bitcoin as a store of value. It can't be a store of value like gold, because gold is something physical. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Whereas crypto is just, it's value.
That's what makes me not understand crypto. And it's kind of, I mean, like you said, it's not something tangible. It's not something you can touch. It ain't like paper money. It's not like precious metals. And I mean, like, you're putting a ton of money in something that is really just zeros and ones. It's just digital.
Right. And what people don't understand is Bitcoin goes on a cycle where it goes it goes. It's a 4-part cycle. It's like 4 seasons. I'm not going to explain all the stuff, but when it goes through a bull phase like it's going through right now, when it reaches its top, then it goes into a bear cycle where it's going to go down. Like right now, a Bitcoin is worth what, 109,000, 100, something like that. Once it goes into its bear cycle, it might go down to like $50,000 or $60,000 per Bitcoin. You can't use that as a storage of value when you know he's talking about we gonna do this cryptocurrency, we gonna do this Bitcoin thing, and America is gonna buy all of the Bitcoins and we're gonna control it. That's not how this shit works, man. I utilize it as, it's a way to make money. Okay. The same way people use the stock market, it's a way to make money. You bet on it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
So it's not necessarily an investment. It's more like a gamble.
Yes. Yes, it's definitely a gamble, and people think that they figured out. They figured out. Yeah, I see Chucky says 117, which I think is at around its all-time high, which is fine, but it's not going to stay there. And so, how do you build up this? All of this stuff is used by rich people to get richer. They use all of this psychological shit or this buildup about Bitcoin is going to do this, and they get all of these people to invest their money into it. And since they own all of the major shares, once all of these people invest their money into it and pump it up, then they sell theirs. And then everybody who bought into it, they lose their money, and then they start all over. When it's cheap, they go back in and they buy it all up. And then the hype starts again. It's this whole damn cycle. So, I mean, but anybody saying that makes him he's doing good because he's trying to regulate crypto, while at the same time, tens of thousands of people in this country are having their civil rights violated every day.
He said that.
Well, yeah, you should just look into it, Tim. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about one day they might kick your goddamn door in because they think you drive for a living. Don't mess around and be in a damn Hispanic neighborhood. Right. You might look like some of them.
Yeah, he did say that too. I'm like, you talking about literally they're taking away people's civil rights, but he said it. You could have a president that's taking away people's civil rights and still be a good president. There's a lot of people that believe that. Because keep in mind, the founding fathers not only were taking away people's civil rights, they were taking away people's freedom and slavery and all that, and they're considered some of the best presidents we've ever had. They were great presidents while actively owning people.
They got their name all over the schools and stuff our kids go to and everything. And when we say something about it, they say, we're trying to get rid of history. We just saying, no, don't flaunt the damn, don't flaunt my, it's like a young girl saying, don't flaunt my rapist's name. Don't put his name, on my school. Like, I don't want to see that every day. And be reminded of that horrible past.
And that's why I said I do believe that if the president could promise, if the president could make folks feel confident that he's going to put more money in their pocket, more money in their bank account, it's amazing at how many things they would overlook. I mean, we obviously are overlooking everything that's happening in Gaza right now every day. I mean, they literally are telling them to come get food and then shooting them when they come get the food. I mean, we're well past anything that came in paragliders or whatever. These are regular people just getting shot up for no reason. And we're overlooking that because, hey, eggs are cheaper here. I mean, so it is amazing that how much people will overlook. And when I say, I get that Gaza and Israel and all that stuff is the world away, but fact is, we could stop what's happening there like that. They're only able to do that because they have our weapons, and we are essentially Israel's only ally at this point. The rest of the free world is looking at Netanyahu like he's a war criminal. So, but yet, because you're reducing the price of eggs and gas is a little cheaper, people turn a blind eye to anything.
Right, and well, first of all, he can't control the price of eggs, but I get it. You're using it as an analogy, but to say that it's a world away is no, because it wasn't a world away when it was Ukraine. It wasn't a world away then. It was. These are my tax dollars. When they say that these people is getting shot at these aid stations. That's mine and yours and everybody in here tax money going to the bullets that's killing these kids.
Yeah, I don't get that. Now I know Israel's on a war path. That's one problem, but I thought Israel was at least paying for the shit they're using. We giving it to them.
We give them. We've been having a regular I don't know what you would call it, but we give them aid basically of around $3 billion a year annually, free. Just give it. This is all military stuff that we give to them for free. And if they have any issues, or like right now where they using up kind of the stuff we give them, then they get to get more stuff on forgivable loans. So they saying that they paying for it, but Trump just turns around and says, "Nah, it's forgivable, just like the PPP stuff. Like, yeah, you could just have it."
But the problem with that is it's one of those things where we can't just blame Trump, because Biden was pretty much giving them a free pass to do whatever they wanted as well. I mean, you don't hear too many liberal Congress people complain about what Israel's doing either.
Yeah, nobody's saying like the Democrats aren't culpable too.
Yeah.
The issue was when this stuff was popping off at the end of Biden's term, they started to see a slight shift where he started saying, "No, I'm not getting certain weapons," and Kamala Harris was coming in there saying that she was going to start slowing down.
Yeah, he was losing the Muslim vote in places like Michigan. They're interrupting rallies, yelling "Genocide Joe has got to go." But I don't know what those folks thought Trump was going to do, because they voted for Trump. Like, are you the Muslims in over there near Detroit? Large Muslim population over there thinking that the Biden administration was pro-Israel and not helping out the Palestinians. Like, what do you think Trump is going to do? And they voted in Trump.
I grew up around 10 minutes away from Dearborn, in Detroit. I know that area well, and it's kind of crazy that the Muslims have always been skeptical of like government, like the government in general. So to see them kind of take to Trump like he was going to be something different is kind of weird, man.
Well, I will say this about one thing I will say about Trump, whether you regardless of what actually happens in the end, dude is a great salesman. That dude can tell you something and people believe it. Like I said, I've been to a couple of Trump rallies and he had me standing up and applauding the couple. I mean, you can feel when he said stuff. You leave them rallies feeling a certain kind of way. That guy really knows how to relate to people. He knows how to, when you're trying to holler at a chick, you're trying to say what you think she want to hear. He's great at that. He is outstanding. He knows what you want to hear. He may not have any intention on delivering at all, but he know what you want to hear, and he gonna check off all of them boxes. He knows how to talk to the people.
Right, but I'm saying when people have deep-rooted apprehension, it don't matter what. That's like how it went for the black women in the thing. Like, he was saying the same shit to the black people. He was talking about the Mexicans stealing y'all jobs. I've been the best thing for y'all since Abraham Lincoln, and he peeled off about 10 more percent.
But think about what he said. Think about what he said. The African American community often thinks that the government is racist and they're based on white supremacy and they don't look out for the black man. That dude got up there and said, "Vote for me. What the hell you got to lose? The Democrats ain't done shit for you." That resonated with a whole lot of black people. I mean, like I said, he don't have to intend on delivering. He knows what to say. He knows how each group feels, and he knows what to say to score those points.
I can't necessarily argue with that, but I think this show, I think you having a breakthrough with some of these people, because you speaking nothing but the truth, and these people are coming out and saying it like they just really, some of them just don't really give a shit about human beings and shit, and they thinking that they about to be rich, and they thinking about just because he made some laws on crypto, somehow that guy think he about to be rich.
I'm serious. People think that when you getting rid of these folks, it's gonna create jobs. It's gonna make America crime free. I mean, people buy into what he's saying. He is a really good salesperson.
Manufacturing is coming back,
Yeah.
and they building all of these plants. And you go to Michigan right now, they closing down plants and shit. They moving shit. They moving shit, and they see that. Like, it's not true, but they just, I don't know. It's like
The guy knows how to talk to the public. I'm just simply, I mean, he don't run.
at some point, it's not about just what you say, because they can like see it. Them people.
But if you really, but then Cal, you ever had a chick that, you know, I don't know, you think you're about to hit, it's just she know how to drag you on. She ain't got to give you none tonight, but she leave you thinking that if you come tomorrow, you're going to get some. I mean, he don't have to deliver. He just leave you thinking that if you continue to ride with me, you're going to, I mean, I got people that are telling me now, Trump has 3.5 years to get the Epstein list out. Just ride with him. He eventually gonna do it. He playing chess. I mean, he knows what to say to keep you holding on, like Simply Red says. I keep holding on. He know what to do to make that happen.
So what do you think is gonna happen to them people that's down there? Where was that at? Where the Haitians was at in Ohio?
Yeah, Springfield.
In Springfield. What do you think that them people, after they get all of them Haitians out of there? You got all of these white folks that don't want to take the jobs. You got you got all of these people that's on Medicare, getting food stamps. He done took all of their shit away. Well, and he done told them, if you just get rid of them Haitians, we can get back to being a good old country town again.
And they believe that. They believe that the Haitians are causing accidents in that town. They're eating up their pets. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know what'll happen if he gets rid of all of those folks that are working those jobs. I don't think that the public at large in that state is going to do it. And it's not like there's going to be a whole bunch of people migrating to Springfield to do those jobs at the Haitian pay rate. So I don't have an answer for that. I mean, he may end up some of Trump's deportations probably are going to shut down some farms, some businesses, some hotels, some construction sites. Some people are going to lose their businesses for what he's doing.
All right, and on that note about the farmers, what people, and I know the MAGA will not look into it, but this new thing he talking about, he talked to Coca-Cola and they gonna go back to pure cane sugar. You heard that?
No. No, I have not.
The leaders at Coke, and they gonna go from the high fructose corn syrup. They gonna go back to this, making Coke with pure cane sugar. Now, if you look back about a month or two ago, this company that was owned by a guy who was good friends with Epstein, who owns the company, had been sanctioned by the American government because he was having people, slave labor, pick his cane sugar.
Wow.
That guy is due to benefit because Trump removed the sanctions off of him about a month ago. Now he's saying that they're going to pure cane sugar. So all of these farmers that's producing all of this corn for the high fructose, sorry, it's hard to say it.
Fructose, yeah.
Yeah, high fructose. All of them farmers who've been producing all of this, corn syrup, about to be put out of business. So this one guy who owned all of the damn pure cane sugar, and I bet you a dime to a dollar, he's probably one of Trump's biggest donors.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
He's doing it for America.
The guy is transaction. I got to move it on Dink Cal, but yeah, you best believe no deal. What did the guy say? No deal goes. A nickel bag is sold in the park. I want in. That's Trump. That is Trump. A nickel. I don't care what you're doing. If I have to approve it, I get something out of it. What is my cut? He pretty much is running the country like a mob boss. Any deals that happen in this neighborhood, I get a cut. And the neighborhood is the whole fucking country. Any federal deals that happen, if I gotta approve it, what's in it for me? That's the way he's looking at it. Not in terms of is it best for the country or whatever. What is in it for me? And that's what we're dealing with for at
And
least.
Stevie D, I do understand that fructose corn syrup is bad for you. I do understand that. But Trump is not doing it because he give a shit about your health.
No, he's doing it for profit. Then, Cal, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Real quick in the comments, and tap the screen, folks. Get your boy on up to it. We might be to reach 100,000, but 90,000 would be certainly possible. Almost 200 of you folks in here on TikTok alone, not to mention all the other platforms. By the way, if you enjoy this type of dialogue, all Saturday out, we do not block, ban, or censor. We never have. We have no moderators. That's how the program is ran. You could be, what do we say? We go left of Bernie Sanders all the way down having dinner with Q. You can be critical of anyone on this program, up to and including the host. It's all about free speech here. If you enjoy this type of open dialogue from all sides of the aisle, feel free to follow the program. If you happen to be watching live on TikTok or Instagram, if you're on YouTube, give your boy a sub. We try to be here most weeknights. Understand you're going to hear opinions from all sides of the aisle. If you want to be heard, come on over to Instagram or TikTok. Some nights we're on Clapper as well. We do have a Rumble account. I got to figure out how to work it out. But if you have any of this, all of them under the same name, the Handsome Liberal. All of those under the same name. But real quick, you know how the program is ran. We don't block, ban, or censor. We are MAGA friendly. Always have been. Always will be. Nevertheless, as you can tell, liberals are welcome as well. And G says, I mean, if the Democrats were doing such a good job for black people, and the GOP was so bad for them, it shouldn't be that easy to have them switch their vote. That's true. That is a good point. I mean, there's a lot of people that are of color that say the Democrats don't do shit for them. I mean, you see some Democrat cities, there's a lot of African Americans that live in poverty in Democrat cities. So it shouldn't be that easy. You're right. But what ends up happening is the Democrats think that better yet, the African American community think that the Democrats ain't doing shit for them. And they say, well, fuck the Democrats, I'm gonna vote Republican. And then you get a Republican in there and it's even less. It's even less. I mean, you can look at Trump's administration. There's not one black person is on his administration. Has he appointed any black judges to any of those benches, lower level? I mean, you don't even see anything African American hovering around Trump. So while the Democrats are not necessarily doing enough to satisfy the black community, there's a whole lot of Democrats promoting people of color. I mean, whether we're talking about mayors, whether we're talking about city council, I mean, the overwhelming majority of minorities from the black community are getting their jobs through the Democrat Party. You run for office as a Republican, as a minority. You don't see as many of them now. You don't see as many of them there. And then also, as I often state, if you were to put a decent data sample, let's say 10,000 African Americans, you put them in a auditorium or something, town hall style, and you have them all come up collectively. I need the 5 most pressing issues you believe are affecting the African American community. You put 10,000 people in a auditorium, town hall style, and let them all collectively come up with the most 5 pressing issues they believe is affecting the African American community. The Republicans are probably on the opposing side of all those issues. I mean, just think about what you hear African Americans complaining about, and think about how Republicans generally respond to what they're talking about. Just think about it. You hear black people complaining about shit all the time. Think about the Republican response to what they often complain about. Some of that's going to come up in those top 5 I just talked about. When they have to come up with top 5 issues that are concerning them, some of that stuff is going to be in there. And the Republican Party is generally on the opposing side of most issues concerning the black community. So while the Democrats are not satisfying the black community, if they leave the Democratic Party and go to the Republican Party, there's a good chance they're going to be even less satisfied. I'll leave it at that. Looking in the comments, by the way, I always bring this up. If you look at the African Americans in America in terms of middle class African Americans, things like that, look where they live at. The overwhelming majority of them live in liberal areas. I mean, there's a lot of red in this country, a lot of red counties all over the country. Rural America is all red. Most of the African Americans that are middle class or above live in liberal cities. They don't live in. If you look at the map after a presidential election, most of it is red, except for the big cities. Most of that map is most of the African Americans that are doing well. They don't live in that red stuff. They do not live in that red stuff. Looking at the comments here. Now Clarence is Gary. Clarence Thomas, somebody talking about? We left the Lincoln Party because Lincoln left. Damn, that's a great way of putting that. Let me go back to the box because we don't like getting lynched. Jesus, you guys are harsh tonight. Dems have been reactive for decades with a lack of meaningful long-term strategies politically, despite meaningful efforts. GOP are better and more consistent sales messaging. Well, but like I said, being a good sales messenger isn't necessarily that great if you don't deliver. I don't know a lot of African Americans that are jumping up and down for joy after a Republican has just left office. There were some after Trump left office saying the economy was good or whatever, but I don't remember a bunch of African Americans celebrating after 8 years of Bush, 8 years of Reagan, 4 years of George H.W. In most cases, the African American community, after a Republican has completed their term, they're not very happy. They're not very happy. So Trump is an outlier because Trump is not a traditional Republican. He's not Bush, Reagan, or HW. He's not a traditional Republican. Ed G says those black people, most likely born and raised in Democratic cities, but somehow blame GOP for problems they face caused by their local Democrat government. No, there's a whole lot of black people that are born and raised in Republican areas, all down in Mississippi, all them red areas. There's all of that stuff is full of black people. Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, all of that shit's blood red. There's plenty of African Americans living in them little small areas that they can trace their family roots all the way back to slavery. That still live in them Hattiesburg and all them little Tuscaloosa areas and shit like that. And they're not doing very well financially. They're not doing very well financially. The African Americans that are doing fairly well financially live in big liberal cities. Even in the South, Houston, Atlanta, you'll find plenty of them, maybe in Dallas. Then, of course, up north, Chicago, Philly, D.C., you start finding brothers that are making real money that's got property and houses and shit like that. But if you go in rural Louisiana, there's plenty of black people that lives down there in those Republican areas, and they live in very poor. They don't have a lot. They're struggling to get by, working at the only Dollar General in town and shit like that. They're struggling. You find people of color, particularly in the black community, that are doing living a decent middle class or above lifestyle. It's in a liberal city where they live in. Let me continue on though. Don't vote, nothing changes. I don't agree with that. You're telling people not to vote at all? I don't buy that whatsoever. Let me go back to the box. Tap the screen, get us on up. We might be to reach 100,000. We're getting close. Tap the screen, let your thumbs not be lazy. Get us on up the rest of the way. I seen Andy was holding there. Good evening, Andy. Welcome to the pro. Am I getting it wrong now? Now, you're obviously not a person of color, but you're in Alabama, right? Andy, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, you're in Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
nobody's doing well in Alabama because Alabama legislator don't like us, and the poor get poorer and the rich get richer, and this goes on and on and on. Especially did you notice that the price of beef in July of 2024 was $5.47. Today it's $6.12, and buckle up, Buttercup, because if he puts that 50% tariff on Brazil, it's going to be astronomical come December.
So you're saying under Trump, groceries have went up?
Well, at least beef has.
Yeah. What about...
Because we don't have enough cattle ranchers here that have beef because we've had a 10-year drought. So a lot of them liquidated their cattle because they couldn't feed them. And since they couldn't feed them, they couldn't gain weight. They liquidated them. So we've been buying cows from out of the country because apparently we don't care about global warming in America. We're not going to do anything about it and pretend like it don't exist. But meanwhile, it's decimating our food supply.
What about, this is somewhat off topic, but somewhat on topic because it's an economic question. What about gas prices? I'm getting hammered in the comments because I said under Trump, gas is. Go ahead.
We'll see in a second. Well, even if it isn't, it's because the Saudis and them have been drilling like crazy.
So you agree with me? You have seen gas prices at least stabilize, if not drop a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I don't think it's because of Donald Trump. Why are the gas prices stable? I think it's because of Saudi Arabia, actually.
No, I'm not disagreeing that it probably is not likely because of Trump, but I do believe that when you're president, I just give you credit for that because if gas shot up to $5 a gallon, the liberals would be blaming Trump for that, even if it wasn't his fault. If it happens under your watch, people gonna blame you for it. So if something good happens, you should get credit.
I'm not one of those. I know where gas comes from. I know how that works. Like I understand that phenomenon. I am a little worried about the beef because I don't want to be. Because according to experts, beef is going to go up 76%, and after the August tariffs kick in with Brazil. Yep. So by December, meat should be just through the roof.
My guess is it's going to be.
Better eat that steak now.
But this is where one of my callers was commenting on, liberal. Hold on, hear me out. This is where one of my callers was commenting on.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. I heard the inhale, so I thought you were about to. But one of my callers was, talking about how the liberals fearmonger and they're always talking about under Trump there's going to be a recession. And I stated is because Trump often promises to do something where most analysts suggest it will cause a recession, but then the next day he changes and rescinds it so that the prediction that the analyst made is no longer accurate. Like what you're talking about, beef going up 76% based on these tariffs. My guess is the tariff, if it's going to cause that to happen to the price of beef, Trump is going to rescind that tariff. This is where taco comes from.
Well, wait a minute. What do you think made it jump from 547 to 612?
Instability.
12% tariff he put on. A 12% tariff he's got on them right now.
I think some of it is instability.
And he's going to add 50 more to that.
I mean, the tariffs are causing problems, but Andy, I think also the unpredictable nature of Trump is causing investors and people to make all kinds of crazy moves because you just don't know what he's going to do.
The market likes stability.
Right. And he's anything but.
And on that crypto thing, crypto got hacked at the actual what do they call it? Let me look that up for you. It was where they warehouse the money, like at the let me find it. Where was the crypto hacked? What's it called? But they're hacking it at the point of transaction.
So if you buy crypto, what are they hacking into your password, or are they taking your coins from you?
They take your money. Like they siphon it off. They lost 1.5 billion of Ethereum.
God.
North Korea took 1.5 billion of Ethereum. It was the theft occurred at Bytebit, a major cryptocurrency exchange. That's where I can remember in Dubai. In February, state-backed North Korean hackers called the Lazarus Group exploited Bytebit's infrastructure to steal approximately 1.5 billion in Ethereum tokens.
So they just robbed a whole bunch of crypto people.
Yeah, because that's where it's weakest, at the point of exchange.
Wow.
So if they don't figure that out, that's a problem. So what are you going to do? Never spend it? And then there's the other little thing that you can exploit the wallets and steal it that way. Take it out, put it in a wallet, then exploit the wallet.
If you got a password, you got a password.
Hold on, then the big one is coming. Some very, very people that I think are way too they're putting way too much. I think they're too early. They're saying 3 to 5 years. I think it's more like 10 to 15 before quantum comes around and just wipes Bitcoin off the map, because they'll be able to crack any encryption, including the ones at the bank. So we better get ready.
Wow. Yeah, to me, knowing that all of your money is hidden behind a password, and if somebody can get their hands on the password, you can be made bankrupt, is frightening. I mean, that is scary. I guess because your money's not FDIC and it is in the bank. If somebody gets, because you mentioned at the point of transaction, I mean, if somebody can hack into your computer and know when you're putting in passwords to your wallet or something like that.
Oh, and then there's the guy that lost a $47 million wallet in the dump, and he's been searching for it. He's been like,
he gave up. I think he gave up a few weeks ago on that. Yeah,
I think he was told to give up. I think the courts made him. But that Pepe Fangel guy from the sugar thing, he's tied to Epstein and Trump. He gave lots of money to Trump's organization through the campaign. Lots of money.
I don't have anything else to say about that, and that stuff is corrupt. When Trump starts getting involved in deals, privatizing things, okay, so he signs a deal that says this industry can be privatized, and as a result, they kick back some money to him. That's just, I mean, I'm not saying he's the only one that's ever done it.
There was some corporation that the SEC was investigating, and then everybody saw that guy from that corporation at that meme coin dinner with Donald Trump, and then Monday after that, the SEC investigation went away.
Yeah. I'm not, listen, Trump, I'm not saying that he's the only guy that's ever done this stuff, but he promised to be the guy that stops it. He was going to drain the swamp. And he just got in there and...
He is the swamp.
Yeah.
He is the swamp and then some. Like, you know what cracks me up is Trump supporters would go, well, he's doing it out in the open, so it's still illegal. It's still corruption.
Yeah.
Just because he has convinced you that he's doing it in front of your very eyes, he is literally in y'all's face, and y'all are letting him. I'm sure he's laughing about it.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea that he could literally threaten a football team that if they don't change their name back to the Redskins, he would interfere with their deal. That is as open, out in the open corruption as you can get. I mean, you want them to change their name to your liking, or you're not going to approve a stadium. Like you should not be involved in that in any way, fashion, or form.
That and trying to make other countries bend to his will on social and things that aren't even economic is crazy. Like, it is crazy to me that he's getting away with this. They just let him know. And then they have the audacity to want to arrest Obama. By the way, y'all realize Obama has immunity, right? That same immunity that Donald Trump has, Obama has. Y'all, he is not going to arrest Obama.
Wait, hold on. Don't depend on the Supreme Court to twist it to some way that whereas Obama does not have immunity. Don't necessarily feel confident
in that. Did you hear that Donald Trump's little press secretary threw him under the bus and took away his immunity for the meme coins? She stressed openly he did that on his personal time. Well, honey, if that was his personal time, then we can prosecute him for that. Thank you.
Well, just like with the Epstein file, she'll come back and say she didn't really mean it was on her desk. So, I mean, she'll come back and say,
Well, you know, Bondi was the Attorney General of Florida after Alex Acosta, who went to work in Trump's cabinet, made Jeffrey that sweetheart deal. Let's not forget that. And other witnesses and all came forward, and she would not reopen the case and add them to it. So,
Well,
Bondi's had a long history with the Epstein list.
Yeah, and
you have a good night.
I think somehow... I think what happened is Trump talked to the right people and told. Because remember, he tweeted out or took to Truth Social and said, "Stop talking about Epstein." I think he actually this time made phone calls to each one of them personally because they are starting to change their tune on how eager they are to get this Epstein information.
It's not that his meme coins are illegal, people in the comments. It's that we don't know who put money in them, which is corrupt. Just saying.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, Tim. You can drop me down.
Anytime, Andy.
I'm tired of looking at their comments.
All right, Andy. Appreciate you coming through. Tap the screen. We're getting close to 100,000. I would love to make that happen if possible. Will G points out that northwestern Mississippi, northwestern Mississippi is blues, and that the Mississippi Delta in heavily black. Yeah, Mississippi. I think the whole state is kind of is fairly black, is it not? But he's saying the Mississippi Delta area, and northwestern Mississippi is blues and heavily black. And there's not a lot of brothers doing very well in the state of Mississippi. It's a very red state, and there's a lot of poverty in that state. In fact, Mississippi, I believe, is one of the poorest states in the union. So you often hear people bringing up, crime in liberal cities when they suggest that liberal cities are mismanaged or the high taxes you pay in California, places like that. You don't hear them talking about poverty in liberal cities, though. because there's far more poverty in red states. Most of that Bible Belt stuff, maybe with the exception of a good economy like Florida and Texas, outside of that, most of those Bible Belt states are pretty poor. You know, your Tennessee's, Kentucky is really fucking poor. Um, Obviously, Mississippi's quite poor. Louisiana's quite poor. West Virginia's dirt poor. That's not a Bible Belt state, but it's dirt poor. I mean, they don't talk about that. They talk about the crime. Because if you start talking about the poverty, the red states are not going to look good at that. Now, Trey the Lion is saying stop spreading false information. Are you telling me, Trey the Lion, are you telling me that the poverty is more in liberal states and not conservative states? Let me know. Let me know what I'm getting wrong. The state might not be rich, but people getting paper. No, they're not getting paper. They're not. Not compared to the liberal areas. The wealth of people in liberal areas is significantly stronger than it is in those conservative areas. I disagree with you on that. Kentucky is coming up slightly thanks to the Democrat governor. Really? Is that the case? Because I heard that several of the nation's poorest counties in the country are in eastern Kentucky. Over there, where it's very rural, over there in eastern Kentucky, several of the nation's poorest counties. You get over there in that Asheville area, where West Virginia, all that stuff, the Appalachians, where J.D. Vance came from. You get in that area, the poverty is rampant. It gets real poor in that area. Really, really biblical, really Christian, and really fucking poor in those areas. And all of that's red as hell. It's blood red. If we all stood as one and said we are not going to work or pay our taxes or bills, shit will start to change. We don't really use our political power. You know something, C-Note, love the name. That can work under the right leadership. If we all stood together, as you say, and decided we were not going to work or pay our taxes, I think Trump would start prosecuting people. Standing together has power to it, no doubt. But if you got a leader that is going to, just like union busting, for instance, if somebody's not going to adhere to the rules, it's going to have limited success. And I think in Trump's case, if you start talking about not paying federal taxes, he would just jail you. Just like when I was talking to one of my viewers earlier who was talking about you may start having people taking up arms against ICE. Then Trump will just send them back with a tank. I mean, Trump is just going to continue to be escalatory because he likes to win. So I agree with what you're saying normally, C-Note, but under a Trump government, I don't feel as confident about that because the guy likes to win so much. How much money have Republicans diverted from taxes given to working families over to billionaires and millionaires who can live off other people's labor? Trillions of dollars is what so I can't see it. 729 Jay Horace said that's what you're saying. The jury's out on it. I think you're probably accurate on that, but because it's in the process and it has not officially happened yet, I'll say the jury's still out on it. But most people do believe the big beautiful bill amounts to a increase in the wage gap, a transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top. Most financial analysts believe that is what happened, but I'm gonna say the jury is still out on it until you see it actually taking place. We fight while they eat and drink the best. Yeah, that does happen. That absolutely does happen. America. Wow, here's an interesting one. 7up the Go says Americans are united as ever. Wow, can't say that for others. We won't switch, no sides. If you don't like it here, you can leave. Americans are united as ever. Who sees any validity in that? You think right now, July 2025, Americans are united as ever? Is there anybody that believes that? Really? In the comments though, Jiminy Crickets makes an interesting suggestion. I assume he's reflecting that to yours truly. And of course, I don't mind folks being critical of the host, but he makes it clear in 4 simple words coming from Jiminy Cricket, likely directed at yours truly. He says, with only 4 simple words, go back to Africa. I've never been to the continent, never been there. So, I mean, listen, if I want to bring up my ancestors, you generally are told you were not a slave. That happened hundreds of years ago. Okay, well, I was not from, I've never been to Africa either. So I don't know where that's coming from, but thank you for your input, Jiminy Crickets. All right, going back to the box. They say the big, beautiful bill is the biggest transfer of wealth in our history. Damn. That is bad news. That is real bad news. Why do people say that? Black people have never been to Africa, says Mr. Mike. Well, the thing about it is, I brought your ass over here to work for free and to be my property. Now that you've gained freedom and equality, I have no use for you. I would rather have my country back without you. Take your ass back to Africa. That's why they're saying it. You're fine. You're welcome here as long as you follow my rules, be my property, and work for me for free. But if you want to be free and have equality and shit, you can take your shit back to Africa with that. That ain't what I brought you here for. That is why they tell you that. Anyway, let me go back to the box. Tap the screen. We're very close to 100,000. Do your boy a solid. Get us on over the hump. MAGA reacts. Good evening, MAGA. Welcome to the program. I have land in Ghana, but haven't been there as of yet. I would like to see Ghana. I would like to. That's where my Ancestry.com kid told me I have in my heritage. I got Ghana. My biggest portion of it is from Ghana. MAGA reacts. Good evening.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much at all. State of the Union. State of the Nation is what we were originally talking about, and how comfortable, how delighted, or how disappointed people are with the direction of our country. How are you feeling so far? We're 6 months in on Trump. How are you feeling so far in regards to the state of this nation?
It's like a C plus, maybe B minus.
B minus.
It's not good. It's not as bad as it was with Biden, but it's not good either.
What is he doing that you don't like? I'm surprised with a name like MAGA reacts. I would have thought you'd give him a higher grade. What is he doing that you don't like?
I don't know, just too much following what Israel wants to do, too much. I don't know, just too much fucking up in the media. He's losing the rhetoric war, for lack of a better term.
What about this? Well, Trump supporters often say, don't pay attention to what he does, not what he says. So you're saying the rhetoric war. What about his policies? How do you feel about his policies?
I mean, I like most of them. It's not really the policies that are the issue. It's just his direct action. Walking over something.
Give me an example. What direct actions do you have? Do you disagree with?
I feel like he's not listening to the people like he normally does. Usually he's on top of what everyone's feeling. Even if they're talking about cats and dogs, he knows about it. But he's either ignoring us or he's not listening to us. I feel like he's in a fucking, right-wing bubble right now. It really could... those pro-Israel right-wingers are, and I feel like he's in a bubble and he's not hearing the left side of MAGA.
Wow. I'll give you my analysis on it, and it's very similar to what I think happened with Elon Musk. He don't need you anymore. I mean, when he tells you what he needed to get that second victory, he's gotten the money he needed to get in the Republican coffers to reach the top, all of the money you need to run a campaign. He got plenty of that from Elon. He's got your vote. That got him back in as a second term. He don't need you anymore. I think that's what's happening is once he got from you what he needed, there's no need to deliver anymore. You can't do nothing to him. He's going to serve out his second term regardless. I mean, so he's not legally allowed to serve a third unless something crazy happens. And at his age, that's unlikely that he'll be healthy enough to do a third term. So he don't need you. That's why he's not listening to you anymore. There's no benefit to it.
No, I don't think so. Because he really wants to do a good job. I mean, you could tell by, how he cares and he talks about everything. even though like I don't agree what he's choosing to do right now, he's still super active, more active than any president before in my lifetime. So he's out there every day talking about everything that's on the news. You get your news directly from the president.
You think threatening? You think actually
from Obama or Biden?
You think actually threatening to take the citizenship of actual Americans is coming from a guy that wants to do a good job?
I mean, I don't agree with it, but, and again, I think he's trying to distract with that more than anything. He's trying to distract from Epstein, which I don't care about Epstein, but I could say he's fucking up as far as, handling that situation. At least explain to us why you can't release it.
Do you think letting Netanyahu pretty much have free reign at the American taxpayers' expense, do you think that's doing a good job? You started out by admitting that ain't, so he's doing that also.
Yeah, again, that's like one of his biggest weakness. I mean, it's Biden's biggest weakness too, but yeah, it's America's biggest weakness, Israel.
Yeah.
I mean, I was pro-Israel the whole way through, but the last couple of months, I'm like, what are these people doing? Why would you attack Syria right now? Why do you attack Iran?
Yeah. Israel, since October 7th, which they were victimized incredibly bad on October 7th by the Hamas paratroopers, but since that, they've used that traumatic event to just wreak havoc on every enemy. They've went into Yemen, Iran, Syria, as you're pointing out. Who else have they hit? I don't know if they struck any targets in Iraq or Egypt. Did they hit something? I think they accidentally bombed something in Egypt the other. I mean, they're everywhere. And then, of course, they're all over the West Bank and Gaza. I mean, they use that event as an excuse to just wreak mayhem on everybody they got any drama with.
Yeah, I defended them saying that, no, they're not trying to take over the place and kill all these people. But now I hear that they're not feeding them and they're killing them every time they show up to get food.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Shit's just not good right now. But
Let me ask you this: if you could go back in time, now I don't expect you to vote for Biden or Kamala Harris. I get that, but out of the other 9 or 10 people, from Chris Christie to Nikki Haley to Ron DeSantis, none of them would you have not chosen any of them over Trump?
No, they're worse. They're all worse.
How do you know? How do you know Ron DeSantis? What about Ron DeSantis makes you say he's worse?
I mean, because he's ultra-conservative, too. You think he'll be less Israel's puppet? He'll probably be more of an Israel puppet. At least with Trump, every now and then, he'll say he's pissed at them because they're not, they're not doing a good job.
Yeah, but
he actually talks back against Israel once in a blue moon.
But Maggie asks, what good does once in a blue moon talking back or saying you're pissed when it comes with no enforcement behind it? Okay, you spoke out against them. So what? You're not going to do it. I mean, it's like a mom who has a badass kid that threatens to spank him once in a while. There's no enforcement, though. So the kid remains one of the baddest kids should know. That ain't saying nothing. There's no benefit to that.
There is a little bit of pushback. I don't want to say enforcement. There's pushback all the time.
How? Give me an example. Give me an example.
I mean, he held them back from attacking Iran for like months, and then I guess eventually he lost that fight. But for the
he held them back from attacking Iran. He held them back from attacking Iran. Then he joined them. You consider that some kind of achievement?
I mean, they kind of forced his hand as far as I'm concerned.
They didn't force his hand to do a damn thing. Trump jumped in that shit with Netanyahu, and by all intents and purposes, looking back on it, it don't even look like we successfully completed the mission over there.
By the way, all the doom and gloomers earlier saying beef is gonna skyrocket and all that shit. They don't remember like 3 weeks ago or a month ago when they said gas prices were gonna skyrocket because of the Iran situation, and it actually went down instead of went up. And they're trying to say that it's not Trump, it's the Saudis, but the Saudis are friends with him. On day one, he told the Saudis to increase production, and they increased production. In his first administration, he had them increasing and decreasing production whenever he won.
Well, and I don't totally disagree.
So it is him lowering the gas prices.
Well, I'm not going to agree or disagree. I will just say this: under Trump, things move at the speed of light. So it is very difficult to make a prediction of what the future is going to be like under President Trump, because whatever you're making your prediction on today, those factors may have completely changed tomorrow. Whatever word he gives you, whatever contract he signs, whatever promises he makes on TV, cannot really take any of that at face value. Anything he promises to do, signs on a dotted line for, or even talks about, he may totally change his tune on that within the span of a few hours. So it's almost impossible to make any predictions on something that is that unstable.
Well, you can't predict the future, period. You know,
yeah, you can. You can make some analysis though. MAGA reacts. I mean, if all of a sudden you impose 50% tariffs on a country and you stick to what you promised to do, you can make predictions that things are going to go up or products are not going to be available based on that 50% promise.
This is one of the things I actually like about Trump, that he's not an ideologue. Like, he'll actually adjust his course of action to, you know, to adjust to the realities on the ground, you know? He's not like Biden, where he'll do something and stick to it until he fucking, you know, loses. He'll actually change course until he finds the winning course. You know, he likes to try different things and talk about different things to see what people like and what works and what doesn't work.
You know,
and that's his. I think it's his greatest strength, the taco thing.
You know, there's a fine. You know, there's a fine line between changing courses you're giving them credit for and just telling a lie. I mean, fact is, you promised to do something, and the end result is you didn't do it.
Everything is not telling a truth versus telling a lie. This is just, you know.
Let me explain to you what
he doesn't know what's going to become true and what's going to end up being a lie.
Let me explain to you what I'm talking about. If you tell me you're going to impose 50% tariffs on China, and you ultimately do not do that, you could call it changing course. I could call it a lie, and we could both be right. Because fact is, you told us you was going to do something, and you didn't do it. That's a lie.
I call it negotiations. I call it doing business. You know, you come to my business, I have a sale price of $1,000, but guess what? Every now and then I'll reduce the price or I'll increase it based on supply and demand and based on what's actually happening.
So,
you know?
So he's changing course on the Epstein list. He's not lying. He's just changing course.
Again, I don't know what's going on with that. Hopefully in the future we'll find out. And I think with enough pushback, he'll eventually give in and release the list, or at least explain to us why he can't release the list.
You think the guy is going to eventually give in? The same guy who told us the list is on his desk. It doesn't exist. It's an Obama creation. It's a Democratic. You think that dude who has changed course 1,000,000 times is going to eventually come clean and give it to us? He clearly doesn't want to do that.
He'll eventually do something to fix this. He's not like Biden. Shit doesn't fall on deaf ears with Trump. In fact, he's got the opposite problem. He listens too much to everybody's complaints and tries to make everybody happy, and then ends up making nobody happy.
There's nobody. You said he listens too much. There is nobody telling him to do what he's doing with the Epstein list right now. He's not listening to anybody. Everybody's telling him right and left, we want to see what's on that list. He ain't listening to nobody.
I think Epstein right now is an outlier, but I think he's going to change course eventually.
You said he listens to the people.
Holding out for much longer.
You said he listens to the people. He ain't listening to nobody in regards to the Epstein information. Nobody is telling him to do what he's doing.
Upset. By the way, I thought we're supposed to be a cult. How are we calling out all this shit that he's doing wrong for a cult? You know? I mean, we're still sticking with him because he's better than the alternative.
No, I can explain to you. I can explain to you where the cult stuff is coming from. Let me see if I can play this clip for you, because I think
when Biden was doing bad, the Democrats were saying he was doing great. At least now with Trump doing bad, we're telling you Trump's doing bad and we want better from him.
I don't think most people. I disagree with you. I don't think most Trump supporters.
I heard 4 years of how inflation.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you. Most Trump supporters are not saying Trump is doing bad. They're saying he's doing good.
And then why are they upset about the Epstein list? Why are they upset about him attacking Iran? Why are we? I mean, I've been talking to you about all the shit I've been upset with the last 4 or 5 times I've talked to you. So how am I upset with all this shit if I'm in a cult and I follow whatever Trump says?
You don't like you don't like a few things he's doing, but overall, most Trump supporters still think Trump is doing a good job. Like I just asked you, is there anybody else you would have voted for? You immediately said no. You think
you know what a cult is?
You're trying
That's
to
not
say
a cult mentality.
we can talk about the cult. The point I'm making is you have made it clear that out of everybody that has ran, despite the things you're pointing out you don't like about Trump, you still would have picked him over everybody. That's where the cult mentality is coming from.
Everybody else sucks. It's like, who's better? Who's better? Like, you got all the old Republicans got us in the Iraq War. All the Democrats gave us Biden and 20% inflation, and they also got us in the Syria war and a bunch of fucking bullshit, and the Ukraine war. And I mean, everyone else is just as bad or mostly a lot worse in my eyes.
You think everybody else is worse than the guy who essentially is protecting the identities of pedophiles? Everybody's worse than him.
I mean, that's the other thing. We don't know what he's protecting and why. I mean, it's like the Diddy thing. We thought for like months that Diddy had videotapes of Jay-Z and all these people at these huge orgies and shit. Then it goes to court and we find out it's mostly him and his girlfriend and like one escort. That's what the free cops were.
No,
I was expecting orgies with Carl Winslow and a bunch of fucking celebrities. And what was the truth? It was just him and his girlfriend only. Like,
you and I.
So,
yeah, you and I.
I don't know if that's the case with Epstein. I really don't know what's going on. I'm just like I always tell you, I'm just gonna give it time and see what happens.
And that's why people are yelling cult. Is because this guy promised to give you.
I'm waiting to see because I'm waiting to see the truth.
Because exactly that. The guy is potentially protecting the identity of pedos, and yours. Well, I'll wait until he decides.
Look at all the words you use. Maybe, potentially, possibly. We don't know for a fact. We don't know anything for a fact.
I'm trying my best to be kind to Epstein in that list. I'm pretty sure that there are pedos on that list, and so is most MAGA. I'm just saying allegedly because that's what you're legally supposed to say. I'm saying maybe enough, but in reality, that list contains pedos. I think we all know that.
Either. So were they protecting pedophiles too?
Say that again.
The Democrats under Biden, they didn't release it either. So were they protecting pedophiles too?
No, let me respond to that in detail. And right off the bat, I'll say yes, it's quite likely that there's some of that involved on the Democrat side. But let me say this. Here's one thing I find shocking about President Trump. No matter what you accuse that guy of, MAGA often responds with somebody on the left or somebody else out in the universe that did the same thing. One thing MAGA never says is, that's wrong, he didn't do that. You never hear, I don't care if you accuse the guy of genocide or trying to restart slavery or some shit. First thing they do, well, you know what happened in Egypt. When do you get to the point where you say, our guy did not do that? Our guy is not capable of doing that. As opposed to comparing him to other bad guys that did the same thing. Whether it's separating children and families at the border. I mean, serious. Whether it's separating children and families at the border, well, Obama did that. Whether it's taking away civil rights, everything you bring up about the guy, they point to another bad guy that did the same. When do you say this guy didn't do that stuff?
No, you see, you're misunderstanding us. We're not saying what he did is right, but what we're trying to say is you're overreacting. You didn't overreact.
All I want to hear is that
these other people did it.
All I want to hear is that all I want to hear is that you are wrong. Trump is not protecting pedos. You are wrong. Trump is not ruining families. You are wrong. Trump is not threatening civil rights. I want to hear that I'm wrong. I don't want to hear about some other guy that did it too.
Well, listen, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying I don't know what's going on.
You just did.
I don't know. And you're translating it into, oh, he's protecting pedos, and you know for a fact. I don't know. I don't know the truth. Nobody knows the truth. That's why we're asking, and we're all mad at him for not telling us the truth.
At the very least, he's protecting the release of the list. You would agree to that, would you not? I mean,
he's going back on a promise. So yeah, at the very least, he's breaking a promise, and this shit's costing us time and votes and power. And for what? I don't know what he's fucking protecting. I would like to at least know that.
Would you agree that he's lying when he says it's a Democratic hoax?
Yes and no. He uses that word a little weird.
What the hell does that mean? What does that
Democratic
mean?
distraction. When he says it's a Democratic host, he's just meaning it's a distraction, kind of like he does, with using shit like this to distract from shit.
The Democrats have not been talking about the Epstein list until prominent Republicans started bitching about Trump going back on his promise. The Democrats ain't got shit to do with this.
I'm explaining what he's saying,
No,
what he's doing.
You're defending.
I'm explaining it to you. I am MAGA. You are on the left. You have problems understanding what he's doing. So I'm explaining it to you, not defending it. I'm just explaining it to you. It's the difference. And these nuances, is where I always get mad with you because, it's like I have to fight you on how the English language works. I mean, you've been in America longer than I have.
Yeah, you do have to help me out with the English language because you're speaking Spanish. You do have to correct me because you're speaking another language.
Listen, I'm not speaking Spanish. I only know how to speak Arabic and English, and I haven't spoken any Arabic. I've only been speaking English since 2000, and half the time I'm thinking in Arabic.
Let me ask you this. Will you at least admit when it comes to Epstein, Trump has told lies, not distractions or all these other synonyms? He's lied about stuff.
Yes.
Okay. We're getting somewhere now.
I admit a lot of shit to you, and you act like I don't because I try to explain it to you. Just because I'm explaining it to you doesn't mean I disagree with you. I'm just trying to explain it to you.
No, you rewording shit. You rewording shit. That's what you're doing. You're going from lies to distraction, and you're coming up with synonyms to lessen what he's actually doing.
Because I have to be very specific with you because you don't understand context and nuance of the English language.
Nuance. Is that what it is? Nuance.
Literal when it comes to Trump, and it gets annoying because not all this shit's literal.
Nuance. If you say you're gonna do something, MAGA, and you don't do it, it's a lie. I don't want to hear about distractions or exaggerations. Or if you say you're gonna do something and then you don't do it, you lied to the people. How about just simplicity instead of nuance? How about that?
I'm with you. I'd rather he would be very simple and just get shit done and not talk so much. He doesn't need to talk right now. The Democrats are done. What are the Democrats going to run in 2020, whatever the next election is, 2028 or 2026? What are they going to run on? The Epstein list?
I don't know. Vote for us. We don't protect pedophiles, maybe?
But they did protect pedophiles.
Not to this level. I mean, we can talk about
level.
Actually, no, it's not. First of all, we can say Biden didn't release the list, but Biden ain't in pictures with the dude. Biden didn't say it was a hoax. Trump went way beyond.
Democrats are.
Trump went way beyond.
This dude was with most of the powerful people. Anyone from New York that had any kind of power has a picture with Epstein. I mean, Clinton. Yeah. Fucking Bill Maher, there's a bunch of people.
Now we're talking about. You said a picture with Epstein. Trump. I mean, you can go on Google and come up with a file of pictures that Trump has with this guy. I don't know any other celebrity that's taken more photos and stuff with Epstein than Trump has. And in the photos are underage girls in many of this stuff.
Not with Trump, not as far as I've seen.
You ain't seen enough then, because there's plenty of it out there.
Listen, Trump was partying his entire life. I'm sure he's got pictures with everybody.
Right, partying with underage girls.
Like Tyson, he's got pictures probably with Cosby. He's got pictures with R. Kelly, I'm sure.
And you
this man takes pictures for a living. He's a fucking celebrity,
And you think this stuff is making him look better? He got pictures with R. Kelly. He got pictures with Cosby. He got pictures with...
He was. He stood in lines for people to take pictures of him at events. That's his life.
Oh, my God. Okay.
You know, the parties he was at, first of all, they're all in the 80s.
Yeah. He got pictures with R. Kelly. I mean, we don't see any connection, Pictures with Bill Cosby, pictures with R. Kelly. You don't see any connection to all those dudes. All right, MAGA.
I'm mentioning all of them because they're all, they've all been...
They all been raping people. That's what they all been doing. They all been raping people. That's the connection.
Well, he's also got, he's also donated to fucking Harris. He's donated to Biden. He's donated to Clinton. I'm sure he's got plenty of pictures with both Clintons.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't he have pictures with?
What are you going to say next? He raped one of them at an HBCU that they donated money to. I got to move it on. MAGA, appreciate you coming through.
No problem.
All right. He got pictures with Bill Cosby, pictures with R. Kelly. Like, you're not helping him out by saying that. Wow. Tap the screen. Tap the screen. Get the likes up to 110,000. Oh my God, that was funny. You're right. Trump, GOP, Dems, all protecting on PD. But like I said, Ed, in regards to saying, well, Trump didn't just protect Epstein or pedos, so did Biden, and things like that. When, as I stated before, when do we get to the part where we say, no, Trump didn't do this stuff? If the defense for Trump, anytime Trump is accused of doing something wrong, if the only defense is to point to somebody else that's done something wrong as well, that ain't defending Trump. If you got to point to other bad guys, then they all just bad. What happened to Drain the Swamp? Whatever happened to that stuff? The only way to make Trump not look so bad is to point out another swamp creature that did the same shit. Like, you can't bring up anything Trump has done and have MAGA simply say, no, he didn't do that. Just, no, he didn't do that. Instead, no, you got to point to somebody else who did the same thing. That ain't defending him. That's just saying there are other bad people out there too. When do we get to the point where you just simply say he did not do that? That's what he promised, to drain the swamp and not do this stuff. Not get in there and do it and say, well, make sure you blame the liberals before me that did the same thing. That wasn't what he ran on, which is why I keep saying, I don't know why people are saying he's a great president with that stuff out there. The answer to this stuff should be, no, he's not protecting pedos. No, he's not being corrupt. No, not other politicians did it too. That's what we're hearing, is just pointing to other bad guys. That doesn't defend him. That just says he's in the swamp with everybody else. Trump can do no wrong, says only Lord knows. That's what I'm starting to think. New people act like the president is their daddy. He's a person we hired to do a job. He's your, quote, boss or CEO. We don't get any emotions with them. I don't know if it's emotional. I think that if you promise to do something, you don't do it, people are going to hold you accountable on that. And then, of course, if there is a segment of the population that does not want that person held accountable, that's when the emotions come in. I mean, like, to me, something I could easily see where emotions come in is the whole notion that the Democrats are the ones that perpetrated the Epstein stuff. That did not come from the Democratic Party. During the Biden administration, there were not a bunch of Democrats talking about that was all over right-wing media. Ever since Epstein has been in the limelight about that shit, where he lost his life was taken, or he lost his life, or he took his own life, however the hell he passed away. It's always been the right suggesting that he didn't commit suicide, suggesting that, there's a list that exists, even suggesting that people were on the list. The right was saying it was everybody from Oprah Winfrey to Tom Hanks to Will Smith. It's always been the right talking about Epstein. The left only got involved when Trump became president for a second time and began to show he had no intention on delivering what he campaigned on. Once the right started getting pissed off that Trump was reneging on his promise, the liberals sensed blood in the water and they piled on. But the whole Epstein debacle is right-wing fueled, right-wing created. It is not a left-wing issue. Despite what Trump is trying to say, it's a hoax and it's created by Obama and the list don't exist and all this other bullshit. That was created by conspiracy theorists on the right, period. And if Trump had delivered it, you wouldn't have heard the liberals say anything about it. The liberals are only on it because there's blood in the water under my enemy, the enemy of my enemy is my friend mindset. That's where the liberals come in. is because they can sense that some MAGA are pissed off with Trump. So they're going to try to egg it on the same way Trump would do. If some Democrats get pissed off with Biden or Obama, Trump would jump in and try to egg it on. That's what the Democrats do. They're playing politics, but they didn't create this whole event. It's not a Democratic hoax, as Trump is saying. Megyn Kelly and Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, all these people going ape shit about Trump reneging on his promise. Those aren't Democrats. None of those folks are Democrats. If Bill Clinton is on the list, release the list. And I'll say this real quick, because you hear everybody say that if Trump is on the list, Biden would have released the list because Biden obviously did not want Trump to get elected. So if his greatest enemy is on the list, then Biden would have definitely released the list. So indicating that means Trump would not be on the list. If Biden didn't release the list, that's a guarantee that Trump's not on it. I'm going to tell you something. Bill Clinton's name is all over the list. Everybody knows Bill Clinton. I think 27 times. Bill Clinton is on the flight log like 27 times. Yet you notice Trump is telling people to stop talking about it. Trump is no fan of the Clintons. Trump clearly sees the Clintons as enemies. So Trump has an enemy on the list. He ain't releasing it. So that blows apart any notion that if a person's enemy is on the list, they're going to release it. That's what they're saying about Biden. His enemy is on the list, meaning Trump. So that means Biden would release the list because his enemy is on it. Well, Trump has an enemy on it too, Bill Clinton. And you notice he ain't trying to release it. So that blows that theory out of the water that if my enemy is on the list, I'm going to release it. Trump is not only releasing the list, he's demanding we stop talking about it. So that blows that theory completely out of the water. And I'll tell you one thing about Bill Clinton being on the list. During Epstein's heyday, when he was doing all this shit, during Bill Clinton's prime, when he was capable of doing all this shit, Trump and Bill Clinton weren't enemies back then. They were buddy-buddy. During the time when these men were young enough to actually take advantage of the services provided by Epstein, they were all friends. Trump can tell you, when during the death of Epstein, how he hasn't talked to the guy in 15 years. Obviously, he's no fan of the Clintons right now. But during the time when these men would have been in their 40s and 50s, probably early 60s, they were all buddy-buddy. The time that they would have been at the ripe age to actually want that stuff. Yeah, dude, Trump is 79 years old now. Of course he's not going to get involved with the services of somebody like that. It's 79. But when he was 59, he was buddies with Bill Clinton. He was buddies with Epstein. So people don't realize that when they're looking at all this stuff. All of those men were friends and associates with each other. Trump was at the Clintons' wedding. Trump was friends with the Clintons back then. He was friends with them. Handsome, Major, Boo. Tim Beautiful, making them look dumb on MAGA. How flat out is MAGA reacts is so stupid. He can't see the puzzle in front of his face. It's a crime area. MAGA reacts is for this, oh my God, complete ridiculous. MAGA reacts likes to push back. Look, I enjoy a spirited conversation, a spirited debate. MAGA reacts likes to push back. That's what you're going to kind of get. Let me go back to the box. But yeah, fact is, during the time when Bill Clinton would have been in his prime, enjoying the services of Epstein, Trump was a close friend and associate of Bill Clinton. They were not enemies back then. Trump and the Clintons didn't really have a falling out until Hillary Clinton started running for president. Before that, they were not at odds with each other. Mike, good evening. Welcome to the program, Mike.
Hey, what's going on, Tim?
Thanks for holding on. Yeah, what's up, man? What am I getting wrong on this whole thing? Now, you heard MAGA React suggest that maybe we're getting Trump wrong. He's not actually telling lies, that we're taking him out of context, or not understanding that some of this stuff is just simply a diversion.
Yeah, I was trying to tell MAGA React in the comments to use his right hand instead of his left, because he needs to switch up, because this fluffing is just getting ridiculous. Listen, Tim, I want you to think about this. We're talking about Epstein. We're not talking about all the previous allegations that he's had with women, talking about he's either groped them or touched them or raped them, going back decades.
Yeah.
There's nothing I just said that's not true, right?
Right.
And I said allegations. What baffles me is how people can ignore decades of allegations. All of these people in different decades and different years from different parts of the country, they've all conspired over 40 years to somehow 40 years to somehow trap this one person.
Yeah.
Or plus the Eugene Carroll. And then add Epstein onto that. And then grab him by the you know what. And then add all of those things and say, is it less or more likely that he's on that list?
That's kind of the gangster grandma approach. Walks like a duck, talks like a duck. Like there's enough. And by the way, I will push back a little bit when you say that they're ignoring it. They're ignoring it in regards to Trump. If all of this, if Bill Clinton or any other human being in existence had all of the same stuff you're talking about pending and allegations made on them, I don't think they would ignore it. It's just because it's Trump, I think.
They wouldn't ignore this if it. Listen, I don't know if MAGA reacts. No, he doesn't have a girlfriend. But say, let's act like he did have a woman. Okay, so let's act like he did have a woman.
All right.
Would you think he would ignore if his woman was coming home from work telling him that this man at her job was doing this behavior repeatedly?
No.
Would he ignore it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Would you ignore it?
No, it's too much circumstantial evidence to just dismiss all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much. And for people to sit here and continue to ignore it and say the Clintons, I don't care who's on the list. You've heard me say that already. Bill might be on the list. He's probably on the list.
Yeah.
I have no qualms about who's on it. I do know this. And that, Tim, you and I have had this conversation multiple times. There's two things that most men will vehemently push back against: being called a snitch or a rat and being called a P3O. Yeah. Those are the two things men will be like, listen, you can say a lot about me, but I'm not letting you get away with those two things. Yeah. So I agree. He's working so hard to not do it, to the point where Congress just went into recess or about to go into recess until September.
I heard that they suddenly don't want this stuff as much as they originally sounded. Trump has probably made a bunch of personal phone calls to each one of them.
But the problem is, yes, so hear me out. He's had all those people looking at all of those hundreds of thousands of pages of documents and are trying to take out any Trump's name in any reference, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if he's in there a lot, you'll never have a complete story.
Yeah. You're not going to listen. I think it's safe to assume, based on Trump's prior actions of saying the list didn't exist, first it was on his desk, then it didn't exist, to it's a Democratic hoax. I think it's safe to assume under the Trump administration, you're never going to get everything in existence on Epstein. I think he's made it clear that he would rather really make this stuff go away, but they're forcing his hand, so he's going to let as little trickle down each time until people shut up. But it's pretty clear he does not want this to come out.
It is clear. And here's the thing. His supporters are going to need to see concrete. Even if the documents came out with his name in there, they would say you're taking it out of context, right? I mean, I don't think they truly care. Like MAGA reacts, he's never going to change his support for Trump, no matter what he does.
Well, he's giving him a C
Johnny
plus.
11.
Well, he's saying he's not happy.
Tim, he said he's not happy doesn't mean he won't change his support. Gen X said he ain't happy.
Yeah.
But then he just told you he won't lose. So it's not that they don't have to be completely happy to be in the cold. That's bullshit, MAGA reacts. Because the whole point of being in the cold is no matter what they do that upsets you, you will continue to support. That's the cultish behavior part, right? It's not that you agree with them no matter what they do in the air. It's not that. It's when you see the thing in front of you that you would normally not accept and you do it anyway and you make excuses for it. That's the cultish behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that they're at risk of not riding with Trump. As you heard MAGA React say, out of all the other 9 Republicans from DeSantis to Nikki Haley and all, he still would have picked Trump. So, and none of those folks are hiding the Epstein list or none of that kind of stuff. And he still would have picked Trump over those people. So, you make a good point. Okay, you're not happy with what he's doing, but you still will support him. You still would pick him over everybody else.
100%. And here's the thing: why do you think they're suspending Congress right now? Why do you think Obama's name came back up in this bogus treasonous indictment and stuff? I mean, all of that is to get, and that's for his base. That's to get them refocused. That's how little he thinks about your ability to process information. Is he'll throw you something back up and you'll go squirrel and you'll turn to that thing and now they're talking about it. That's how little he thinks about his supporters. Think about it, Tim. I'm saying it the other way around.
But did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said earlier, though? He's in a position where he don't need you no more.
You're right. And I can hear it in MAGA React's voice. It's like he's looking for a new fluffer. And MAGA React is feeling dejected. Because he don't need you no more.
Yeah.
He don't need both hands no more, MAGA. And he said, but you're right. But he told them he didn't need them anymore. Like, if this is the biggest pimp shit you've ever heard, like, bitch, I don't need you no more.
I mean, that's what you see. That's what you see the lady on TikTok saying. You know, she's the one that the Venezuelan lady. We love you, Trump. And then you hear her later saying he used us. I mean, once he got what he wanted, he didn't need you no more. I mean, he never had any intention of fulfilling that campaign promise. He made that campaign promise to get your vote. Once he got your vote, he didn't need you no more. I really think even with 350 million, he's doing Elon like that. Once he got your money to help him get in office, you put the e-vehicle mandate and all that stuff, but he don't need you no more. And that's what's happening. Is these folks don't realize that.
They're not even paying attention. Wasn't him and Rupert Murdoch tight? They was tight.
Yeah. Now he's suing them.
They was tight. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is. Listen, he hasn't. Who has been next to him the longest now? Now that Michael Cohen and that group of them are gone, who's been next to him?
Steve Bannon's been around for a while.
But he's been back and forth, and Steve and Trump has even said some shit about him, right?
Yeah.
Steve Bannon continues to come back around. He even Steve Bannon, you know. And I see Nick Allen in the comment. My point is, he's transactional. He don't give a fuck about nobody. He never has. He never will. He has caused dissension between his own children.
Wow.
He's made comments about his own children. I mean, he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care. And so for them to be thinking that somehow he meant what he said, he meant that shit. There was a lady on this app. Her name is Belle. Have you ever talked to Belle?
Belle?
She's a Trump supporter. Belle, yeah. She was in tears the other day because she's been supporting Trump this entire time. She's a MAGA all day long. And she was like, did you fucking hear what he said? She was crying. They don't need it. He doesn't need us. He doesn't. I was like, shit. Yeah. Like, it's like, but again, that's the derangement syndrome. Because I don't know why you're so surprised. He's so transactional. Look at what he's doing with Putin. Netanyahu will be on that list. He keep fucking around. He'll at least say something. He'll come out publicly and say something. Right?
But I really believe that's what it is. It's like he started telling the Megyn Kellys and the Ben Shapiros and the Candace Owens, if you keep letting the Democrats dupe you on the Epstein list, I don't want your support anymore. You wanted it when you needed to get elected, though. But now that you're in there and you got your term is guaranteed, you're telling MAGA, he would have never said that before the 2024 election, that if you are duped on this Epstein list, I don't want your vote. That is something he would have never told MAGA a year ago. But now he's in, he don't need them anymore.
He don't give a fuck. Think about this. I'm going to say, tell me how many GOP members you've heard even broach this subject since it broke. Who has talked about this other than Mike Johnson?
And Mike Johnson don't change this too.
Right. How many have come out and said what Trump is saying about this Epstein list? How many? Can you name me one? Can anybody in the chat name me one GOP member that's come out and called this fake news and all that like he's doing it?
But that's the same with the election too, though, Mike. I mean, how many GOP members are saying that Trump won the 2020 election by a landslide? Maybe Bobart or MTG. But other than that, the Republican Senate. I don't know any Republican governor that said Trump won the 2020 election or he won by a land. I mean, it's solely him saying that. And MAGA is looking at the entire Republican Party and suggesting that Trump knows what he's talking about. All the rest of these folks are part of the deep state or they're in on it. I mean, I don't know any Republican judge, the Republican Supreme Court. I don't know any other prominent Republicans that are saying he won the 2020 election, but they believe Trump. Even though all of them folks readily admit Trump lost. Now, some people say, look, there are things that didn't look right, or we didn't like this, or we went to bed and he was winning, and all of a sudden he was losing when we woke up. But none of them are saying the guy won and won by a landslide. But just like the whole Springfield eating cats and dogs, ain't nobody in the Republican Party saying that but him.
No, you're right. And when it happened, and again, some of them stayed away from it, but the difference is the Trump could have got his base where they were without the Haitians eating cats and dogs shit.
Yeah.
The 2020 election shit had already happened, but he galvanized them about this Epstein shit. Like, he got them thinking that Dems are eating babies and doing all this shit.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, right? So he got them and the evangelicals, because they say they care about children, which they don't, but he got them worked up.
But but Mike, that's the crazy thing. Even with the Hillary Clinton supposedly drinking the blood of infants and shit, no prominent Republican is saying that. It's like Trump can say something and the whole party can disagree, and they will ride with Trump. And I mean, like, there is no senator, Republican congressman, Republican governor that is suggesting that Hillary Clinton has done nothing like that. None. Yet they believe it.
I know. And again, that's another one that the base, even if they believe it, I don't think they believe it enough to think that it's this thing. He put himself in this position with this Epstein shit. He got them talking about the babies and all the children missing, and he did that shit.
Pizzagate.
Did that shit.
Pizzagate.
And Pizzagate, all that shit he did. Now they're going, I need to see it. And now everything around them, releasing, you see that they released all the 250,000 pages from MLK today, right?
Yeah, I heard about that. And the family didn't want it released.
Why do you think he put it out there? As another fucking distraction. He thinks that little of his base.
But hold on. Let me just say this, because I agree with you. The MLK files are a distraction. I agree with what MAGA Reacts even said, that some stuff is a distraction. But to me, that strengthens the case that there must be something about the Epstein files that he does not want you to. I mean, he is throwing depth charges and everything he can to get you. I mean, flares are coming off the fucking boat. He is doing everything he can to steer you from. Like, there's something on this goddamn boat. I mean, I'm seeing you driving everything you can to get me off the path of this boat. And in the MAGA side of the aisle is admitting, they're actively admitting what he's doing is a distraction, but still saying, no, he ain't probably on the list. Why the hell is he trying to distract you so much? I mean, like I said, he's shooting up flares, he's changing course. It's almost like Tom Hanks in that pirate movie where you're trying to prevent the pirates from catching up. You got the water hoses going off, you steer it. Like, he's doing everything he can to prevent people from boarding the Epstein boat. And yet MAGA's like, yeah, but he probably ain't on the list. Why would he be trying this fucking hard?
Because these motherfuckers, listen, that's how, I'm going to say it again, Tim. That's how little he thinks about them. They've been running around here believing that he cares about them. He cares so little about you that he thinks he can tell you and throw you anything, and you'll take it over and over and over again. That's the funny part about it. Because let me tell you, let's be very clear. There's been too many allegations. There are cases. There's some pretty sick shit if you go back and read some of them cases with Epstein and some of the even the one girl that ended up unaliving herself. Some of the things that they were talking about that they had reported, right, about him. Mm-hmm. If you care about kids, you would err on the side of caution, right? Talking about children. This is no time this is not a subject that you can err or wrong. He's not a bad baseball coach.
I'm going to tell
right?
you this. I'm going to simply say this in regards to the. People say, well, if this is so bad, why didn't Biden release the list? I'm just going to tell you, if Biden was, changing course and shooting out flares and depth charges and shit to steer you off his path as much as Trump is doing, I would have been criticizing Biden like crazy on my shows. I would have been
100%.
Biden didn't release the list, but he also didn't do all this shit to steer people off the path, calling it a hoax. And Trump is doing a lot. Tweeting out, stop talking about Epstein. He's doing everything possible to shake people off to the point where you're starting to realize there must be something on that boat they don't want us to get on. I've never seen somebody do this much evasive maneuvers to prevent people from knowing what's going on. He is really trying to shake that.
But the one thing he hasn't done, and you correct me if I'm wrong. The one thing he hasn't done is denied it. Denied himself.
No.
He hasn't denied. He said they fell out or whatever, but he hasn't denied. I haven't heard him deny shit.
It's a good point.
I haven't heard him be. He's trying to throw everybody off, but he's not doing it from a position of innocence.
Well, I got in the comments.
Like
I got in the comments. JT Hayer, I think, says he has denied. I haven't heard him. My guess is he probably would deny it. You're not going to come out and admit you've been with underage kids. He probably would deny it if push comes to shove. But I don't recall hearing him deny it. But I would expect he would deny it.
Well, here's the thing. Even if he has denied it, we shouldn't be fishing to find him taking that position. Yeah. That should be at the center of all of this. It shouldn't be his supporters are weaklings and they're being tricked by the Democrats. And it shouldn't be about Obama. It should be about, listen, I would never. The fact that you would think that I would touch a child is offensive to me.
Right.
As a man, he hasn't taken that stance. He hasn't. Like I told you, Tim, most men would be so fucking offended that you insinuated that they touched an underage child. They wouldn't do it like this.
Yeah. My guess is
they wouldn't do it like this.
My guess is some of his legal counsel has probably told him, your best option is to talk about this as little as possible. That way you can't get caught up in lies, and your best option is to talk about this because Trump, he does have a slip of the tongue, and I'm going to speak. In reality, he lies, but I'm going to take the MAGA reacts mindset and say he has a slip of the tongue many times. So his legal counsel probably realizes that. So just to prevent yourself from getting caught up in anything in the future, just don't talk about this subject at all. Treat it like Fight Club. Just don't talk about it. And he's trying to do that, but everybody is like, no, you gonna speak on this shit.
Well, he can't stop talking. He can never stop talking, so they can't make him stop talking. But okay, even if I take your analogy, don't you have people that would at least write you a statement? Come on, Tim. There's been nothing,
but then if they write you a statement, then they gonna question you on the statement. Just don't talk about it. Just let it be. Hopefully it'll go away.
But he's talking about it. He's just not saying he's not saying anything that would make me think he wasn't on it.
No. And I was one originally that I'm like, look, I don't know what's going on, but I don't know if I would say Trump has abused kids. But the more he's become evasive, it's getting harder to defend. Like you said, he ain't stepped up and said, how dare you accuse me of abusing children? That is awful for you to even think that I would. He ain't said nothing like that. He is trying to literally shake people off of the Epstein trail. And that just, there's nothing that looks good about that. He just does not want you to know what's going on in that avenue. He really is trying to keep that hidden.
He is, big time. And I know you got to get to your next guest, so I'm going to land my plane here. My last comment. If they're going to lose in the midterms, but I'm telling you, I've been reading more and more stuff. I don't know if you've been reading the reports coming from the judges.
They're trying to gerrymander it. Are you sure they're going to lose with all the gerrymandering they're attempting?
Well, that's what they're attempting to do that too, but this is why, right? But Emile Beauvais, his confirmation hearing, Emile Beauvais.
Okay, yeah.
The you know what I'm talking about, right?
I think I know who you're talking about. you talking about the guy that, yeah, I know you're talking about the controversial figure that Trump really wants in there.
Yeah, Trump's personal attorney.
Yeah.
Have you read the FOIA? Have you read the documents that are being requested? So that, anybody can request a FOIA. All pertinent documentation for.
And that's a lifelong appointment he's getting.
Right, but he was involved in the Garcia shit, right?
No, I didn't know that.
You didn't. I think I told you he was the attorney that told them if they get any judgments coming from the judges to basically tell them fuck off, and they were told them basically to ignore the judges when they were deporting Kilmar and them, right? That was in that whistleblower report that I told you, right?
Wow.
So he's the one that's up for the confirmation.
He's going to get that.
Well, it's a lot going on behind the scenes. It's a lot of shit going on. You got to kind of dig.
Trump gets what he wants, man. I want to tell you, I'm betting on Trump. Trump gets what he wants. In terms, if
no.
Go
That's
ahead.
not my point. Here's my point. No, here's my point. I'm with you. If they don't win midterms, I can see a lot of people on his administration, and if not then, definitely at the end of his term, being arrested.
Yeah.
Like literally handcuffed. Yeah. Like I can see a lot.
I don't. But let me push back and say this. This falls under the category of for the good of the country, kind of like Gerald Ford after Nixon. Man, I mean, you would divide the country in half. If all of it now, MAGA don't give a damn about arresting liberals, but if all of a sudden Trump, did his 4 years, passed away in office, or God forbid had an impeachment or whatever, MAGA would go apeshit if you start going after a bunch of MAGA. And I think for the good of the country, I mean, because you're right, there are so many people from Elon Musk going down that have probably committed crimes. There's the endless civil suits firing federal employees for performance when they never had performance reviews. We know ICE is profiling people and violate. I mean, I had just had MAGA on a minute ago, another MAGA viewer that admits, he's violating people's civil rights, but the cryptocurrency is good. I mean, everybody knows innocent people. Yeah, everybody knows innocent people under this administration are getting hurt. Everybody knows that. So there will be plenty of criminal charges available to go around, but do you divide the country in half by doing that?
Yep, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because it got divided in half because they didn't do that. Because here's what I told you this before. It got divided because the Democrats let those anomalies during the election that I think any other time they would have contested. They let it ride because we just came out of the 4 years of Trump contesting. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I definitely believe the likes of Tom Homan and Kristi Noem would be all of the immigration people. They definitely
Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm saying it, when you read these docs, you got to go read the court docs, and you got to read what the judge is saying and what the judges are asking for. That we're not seeing on mainstream TV because for whatever reason they're not putting it out of there. They're asking them for a lot of they're making everybody's job being so detailed about what they're asking. Right? Does that make sense, Tim?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So they're being so detailed that they're forcing everybody that's got to fulfill that request. There's no room to misunderstand what they're asking for, who they're asking for, search terms. I mean, they're being very deliberate, and I can see everybody, the gnomes, I can see them all end up getting arrested.
I can definitely see a lot of people getting prosecuted. I can't disagree with you whatsoever on that. I mean, like I said, there's just been so many innocents that has been hurt on this. People have served time in jail. People have been detained by ICE. They didn't have no right to hold them. People are getting harmed. I'm certain. I think even MAGA realizes that. They just believe Trump is trying to do what's best for the country. But I think even MAGA realizes innocent people are being harmed. It's just not me, so I don't care. But yeah, innocent people are getting harmed everywhere by this. But as you rightfully pointed out, Mike, I do got to move it on. Man, I think that would really put the country at odds if everybody just starts getting arrested, though. I don't know.
I'm gonna send you something. I'm gonna text you some stuff because I actually filled out a FOIA request. I'm gonna send you some stuff. Yeah, I think yeah.
All right.
I don't think they'll avoid it. But tap the screen, share the live. Let's get Tim up to 150,000 before he go. We can get there.
I'm going to be around that long, but thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Later,
Appreciate it. What you've been doing for the past 30 years is electing bad candidates, with the possible exception of Bill Clinton, who managed to balance the budget at least. And Bill Clinton did that with the likes of, I think, Biden and Newt Gingrich. I think we're always going to have better leadership when you got people that are willing to reach across the aisle. I don't think any leader, left or right, is going to be effective from a my way or the highway standpoint. Remember when Obama said, I got my pen and I can do it? People don't like that. And obviously Trump runs a whole campaign of that being my way or the highway. I do believe that you do a lot better when you're able to reach across to the other side, which is kind of the whole gist of what I'm doing in my tiny ass corner of social media. Everybody from all sides of the political spectrum are invited here. I don't buy into the notion that anybody is smarter than the next guy. I don't perpetrate myself as a know-it-all any of that. I believe everybody should come together, share their thoughts collectively, and hopefully we can get some good shit going. Not to mention an entertaining program that could be educational when we do it the right way. But yeah, my way or the highway, I know more about this and that than anybody else. I just think that's a bad idea. I see Landon C64 saying you're MAGA. Okay. All right. Did you see what Obama said? Every young boy needs a gay man in his life. I heard that. I didn't see it, but I know the right has been going apeshit. To some degree, Obama's done his 8 years. So if Obama says something that you disagree with, he says something that you disagree with. But he's not president anymore. He's not coming back. Okay, maybe he's changed because Obama originally was not even in favor of same. He is the administration that legalized it in 2015. But Obama was originally on record saying that marriage is between a man and a woman. So if he's now suggesting that every man needs a gay dude in his life, I don't know. I don't think that every guy needs a. But I will say this though. I am a fan of experiencing diversity, up to and including members of the LGBT community. I don't think you need a gay guy in your life, but I do think it helps us all when we have access to people who are not like us. That's what helps reduce stereotypes, bigotry, and God forbid racism. When you actually have access to the other side, you start realizing a lot of the shit you've been taught in regards to bigotry, stereotyping, and hating people is not true. But if all you have is the media or your racist ass uncle or grandfather and no experience to that side, you tend to believe your racist ass uncle or grandfather. So I do believe it's, just like with the LGBTQ community. People who do not have access to that community believes that they're out actively seeking to harm children. No, Epstein is doing that. Fact is, most of the folks that are harming children are straight men, and to a lesser degree, straight women. Your child is far more in danger hanging around a straight person, a heterosexual person, than they are somebody from the LGBTQ community. Those are not the people that's abusing your kids. It's your counselor, your fucking football coach. A lot of high school and elementary school teachers, females, are having sexual relationships with their students. It's straight people. I don't know why the hell the LGBTQ community are the ones that are getting all the flack for, I don't want to shove down my my kids' throats, and it's gonna be harmful to kids. No, the Girl Scout and Boy Scout coaches are the ones that's banging your damn kid. The religious folks are the ones, the priest you left them around. You sent them to Boy Scouts over summer. That's the dude that's getting your fucking kid. It ain't this dude hanging out at a drag queen show. You don't want your kid. I don't know why people think that, other than the potential for hate. But fact is, the heterosexual community is significantly, with emphasis on significantly, more abusive to children than the gay community or the LGBTQ community is. It's significantly more heterosexual people abusing kids than the LGBTQ community. But yet people continue leaving their kids to straight people and blaming the gays. Anyhow, I do appreciate 100 and some 112. We almost got to 120. Nevertheless, I do have to get up and work for the man in the morning. I always appreciate when you folks tune in, regardless if you have an agreement that disagrees with yours truly or agrees with me. This is how the program works. When we say we go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q, we mean it. So understand we will always maintain an uncensored program. We will always maintain an audience that's MAGA friendly, regardless of your political affiliation. And if you enjoy this type of dialogue most weeknights, feel free to follow the program if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok. Give your boy a sub if you're watching on YouTube. Real quick before I log off, Nate says you are blazed as a motherfucker. Let me make something clear to you, Nate. I just have naturally dark eyes for some fucking reason. I've never tried marijuana. I've never even had a wine cooler. Never tried cigarettes. Never tried any narcotic. Nothing. Never had a beer in my life. I'm 100% permanently sober, despite the fucked up look I may have on my eyes. Anyway, thank you folks for tuning in. I'll certainly catch you guys tomorrow. Like I said, get your boy a sub if you enjoy watching on YouTube. Follow the program if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok. Nevertheless, Landon C64 said I'm selling out. Selling out to who? I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Y'all take care. Stay safe. Selling out, huh? I didn't know I was doing that. Wow, I'm selling out. Jesus Christ.